Staying in the South this week, we're at a track that was unfortunately torn down back in 2012 and replaced by a warehouse, but luckily it was scanned by iRacing before that happened, so we can still race on it here tonight. A 3/4 mile long, 14-degree banked oval in Lakeland, Florida. Just like where the rookies start in iRacing, it's street stocks here at USA International Speedway. These aren't any rookies here tonight, though. It's the All-Star Invitational for the Bandit Racing League, brought to you by Geezer Authentics. So special race tonight. Obviously, it's a different car than these guys are used to. It's a non-points paying invitational race. But what's really special is that these guys were able to invite other drivers that they know or that they're friends with to race with them here tonight. So we're going to be seeing some new names out on the track, as you can already see on our board up here. Real quick, we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you the specifics of what it's going to be like tonight. First of all, qualifying will be mandatory, followed by 12-lap heat races. 2 12-lap heat races. Cautions will not count. 21 cars will be taken from each heat race to fill the field for our main event. Then we'll go to a 10-minute warm-up session where we're going to talk to Bill and a couple other guys while some of these drivers warm up, practice in the background, followed by a 50-lap feature where, again, caution laps will not count. There's no incident limits, 2 fast repairs, and 2 sets of tires. Nick Nickerson is on the board right now. He's leading the points. We've seen him dominate in everything. Do you think he can dominate here in the All-Star Invitational, Marshall?
You know, I think if anything tonight, the one thing that this event kind of prohibits against is the possibility of somebody having that, big dominant event all the way through. I think whether it be between the heats, the qualifier that is, he may have the fastest time right now, but a qualifier here at a track as short as USA International can really be a toss-up. So I think between the 2 heat races where, lap traffic is going to come into play immediately here at USA International, like 23-second laps. Not a very long lap at all, and that means, maybe 5-6 laps into a stint, you're already going to have to start dealing with lap traffic. So even if the heats are a little shorter, let's say he qualifies in the pole, I don't think he'll have to worry too much about it there in the first heat. But in the feature there, tonight's main event, it is going to be borderline impossible to avoid lap traffic. And, the street stocks, they're a much more durable car, you could argue, than the NASCAR Cup car. Aerodynamics matter even less. You can really bump these things around, and that's why they are the iRacing Rookie Series, that everybody starts off in the oval discipline, and they race. This is one of the 2 tracks they come to, the other being Charlotte. So yeah, guys are going to know what they're doing tonight. They're going to know the track well, but they're also not going to be afraid to throw the bumper. And I think in that regard, Nick is he's got to worry about 35, 40 drivers right behind him, all with that idea of trying to get by and not being afraid to use the bumper to do so. And I think not having points tonight, this is just a friendly All-Star Invitational event. I think that definitely kind of takes some of the pressure off, lets guys be a little bit more loose and more casual, but more casual can sometimes mean more chaotic. So whatever we're going to see tonight, Nick's going to have his work cut out for him, but I can't wait to see some of these new faces on the track.
Yeah, for one thing, look at some of these guys heading into the turns. We're looking at Brett Guzik right now on screen, who is currently second, and look at him, he's sideways into every single corner. Looks like this is USA Dirt. Oh, and the 99 car going around already off the nose of somebody. But right behind him, there's Nick Nickerson getting into an accident. Well, there's actually 2 cars with the same paint scheme, but Nick Nickerson in that 2 car with the beautiful Starsky and Hutch paint scheme on his street stock right there. Doesn't have a number on the side. He's got one on the top. I can't tell who the other driver is running that number, but I'm sure we'll see him later. So that's one of the things tonight. All the cool paint schemes that we're going to be looking at. And there's Brett Guzik sideways again, the 85 of Cody Welch also sideways. So it really shows you these are some of the best drivers in the league, and they've really got their hands full. But you can tell Brett Guzik, he may have his hands full, but he's taking care of it. Second on the board right now, and just barely behind Nick Nickerson. We got qualifying up in less than a minute. And that's going to be an interesting qualifying session. It's going to be really tough for these guys to actually get it up here up front on the pole. But real quick, let's talk about street stocks real quick. So yeah, these are the beginner, the rookie cars, and all around the country, There's all kinds of quarter, half mile, street stock races every single Friday night, and that's really why Bill wanted to come to this. It's kind of a throwback thing, a throwback to where everybody starts out, whether it be real life racing or iRacing. And so, I mean, just reading from the iRacing website about street stocks, they specifically mention when it comes to grassroots racing, it doesn't get any more rooted than the street stocks. Street stocks can range from a little bit more than a street car with its interior gutted, its windows removed, and a rudimentary roll cage installed to a full-on race car with a highly tuned engine, upgraded suspension, and plastic bodywork conforming to the shape of the original street car. iRacing street stocks are built to those full-on race car rules. So these are really race cars, but these really show off stock cars, and these are what stock cars really are. But now it is time for qualifying. Brett Guzik had one of the fastest times, so let's go ahead and run on board with Brett Guzik for his qualifying lap. We're on the nose of his car right now. Let's go ahead and head inside and watch him take a lap around here.
Yeah, really clean first lap there by Brett Guzik. You can kind of see here the ideal line at USA International does definitely use both lines of the track, both the high and the low. You definitely want to be right there to the inside yellow line there as you're heading through the different turns, though they are slightly different on each end. But you want to come from the high end, try to get right on the edge there. You see as he is scraping the yellow line with the bottom of the chassis of the car, trying to get it around, and then you want to drift back up to the high line, conserve all that speed, and keep it in the gas. Only good enough for fifth for Brett Guzik, not quite as high as his practice effort, but right now it's a new face to the series. I believe that is yes, Christopher Matthews making his debut tonight there in the 34 car. He's the top entry, and then after that, Kevin Foster in the second position. And Evan, you were asking about the other livery identical to Nick Nickerson, just like earlier this season. Nickerson and Foster are running identical entries tonight.
Not surprising at all. Here's another look. Well, this is Bill Harkins, actually. I was going to throw to Nick Nickerson. Let's go ahead and throw to Bill Harkins, who we're going to be talking to just a little bit later after he finishes his qualifying lap. But a really nice paint scheme on that 11 car. Let's see where he can put it. Sitting 30th after his first lap. Jumps up to 20th position. I believe that's his second lap. May have one left. I'm not sure. No, he'll be sitting in 20th position there. Respectable lap for him. So far, 30 drivers have taken times. Only a couple haven't. Let's look at Terry Condis in the 32, the Pennzoil Pontiac Street Stock. A little bit higher there as he comes out of the corner. Coming down the front straightaway. Let's see where Terry Condis goes. 100 miles an hour down the front straightaway and up to 29th position out of now 31 drivers who have taken a time.
Yeah, you definitely want to dive for that low line. It takes a lot of patience here on the gas at USA International. You really want to go for the low line, even if it doesn't feel as fast. The closer you can get to the bottom there, the better off you are, rather than carrying a bunch of speed into the middle of the turn and getting the back end around. But not a bad lap there from Terry Condis. Certainly going to be good enough to make the show, as it will be for any driver who runs a qualifying lap. As I'm seeing right now, only 4 drivers yet to run a lap here that are looking to participate in tonight's event. Those are Curtis Yancey, Steve Ulrich, Brandon Jackson, and Anthony Caetano have yet to set a lap, and they are running out of time. Just over a minute and a half to go. Of course, short laps, but now Brandon Jackson getting out there to set his first lap of the show.
Here goes Brandon getting sideways down there on the apron, heading on the back straightaway. Let's see what type of lap time he can put down. There to the bottom, coming out of 4, tight to that yellow line. And on the gas as he heads into the front straightaway. So we pull the dashboard up, 93 miles an hour going down into turn 1 and turn 2 all the way down to 80. He'll speed back up. He should be over 100 through this straightaway. Up to 108 before he should be all the way back down to 74 miles an hour I saw, and tight in the turn as he gets it up high for that front straightaway again, all the way up to 9th position for the 99 car of Brandon Jackson. And we'll see if he can improve on his second lap.
Yeah, that was a really clean run there by Brandon. That really shows you with so few mistakes, such a flawless first lap and only still 9th. I mean, the standards here in this qualifying session now out of the final corner one more time, going to give it one more attempt. Looked a little bit cleaner than the first lap, but it's going to be tough to make up that much ground on one lap to another here in the street stocks. The tires in qualifying, even just a little bit of fall off can be enough to knock you out of your best lap in the session.
Yeah, only a couple guys on track now, and qualifying is mandatory. Remember that. This is Steve Ulrich, a new name, I believe. I'm not positive. He may have been in a couple races with us before. I'm not sure. But time is going to run out. It's going to be Nick Nickerson sitting on the pole. And I thought there was supposed to be a 10-minute warm-up, but it looks like we're already lining up for our heat race right now.
Yeah, I think the warm-up is going to come after the first 2 heats here tonight. Although it's looking like, based on driver numbers, or perhaps number of drivers in this session, we're not going to have 2 heats. We're only going to have 1 heat, which still does set the order here for qualifying. But Steve Ulrich, Anthony Caetano, Curtis Yancey unable to run a lap. And thus, unless they are kicked from the event for not running a qualifying lap, they will be on pole for this first and only heat, it would seem, before our 10-minute warm-up before the feature.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes here. I had my order a little bit mixed up. Sorry about that, but yeah, showing Steve Ulrich, Anthony Caetano, and Curtis Yancey 1, 2, 3 right now. Let's go ahead and look at our grid. So Steve Ulrich, Anthony Caetano, Curtis Yancey, of course, didn't run lap time, so I'm assuming these are being inverted from your qualifying time where you start. Joey Zaremba will be in, I assume, what should be first, but 4th position in the 9 car. Then we have Alan Castle in the 93, followed by Thomas Finsler, Terry Condis, Richard Gross, Gary Wright, and Peter Murphy starting off this heat in 10th position.
Into the 10s, we got Victor Weaver or Roman Henry making his debut tonight, right in front of Hunter Henry. Got to assume those two are related somehow, so they're going to be starting right next to each other. Got Alex Bowser, David Leakey running off the top 15. Our very own Bill Harkins in 16th. Got Carter Talley there starting behind him in 17th. Mitch Sullivan in 18th, matching his car number. Connor Sawyer in 19th, and Jason Greenwell will round off your top 20.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties in 21st, though, is going to be Bill Harkins. I believe that is not correct.
Oh yeah, that's going off of off qualifying. It's the inverse there of the grid. The heat system format I've found is can make some telemetry systems a little bit wonky. So you'll just have to work with us minute by minute here for the heat race.
That is a little bit strange. Not exactly sure. Well, a little bit different on my end. I wasn't exactly expecting expecting this. Wasn't exactly prepared for that. But Steve Ulrich, Anthony Caetano, Alan Castle, and Joey Zaremba going to be your top 4 drivers here today. You can look at the top left to see our starting grid. 11 laps to go. Saw my microphone was a little bit quiet. Is that better? People in the comments, let me know. Let me know if this sounds good. Let me know if I need to turn my microphone up, down, anything like that. But getting ready to go here. 11 laps to go as the lights on the pace car are off for the All-Star Invitational here presented by Geezer Authentics with the Bandit Racing League.
Yes, indeed, here getting set to go for Heat 1 of tonight's event. Car's just heading out of turn 3 right now. Pace car's going to take the left-hander onto pit road. Not a long run here up to starting straightaway, so a lot of guys are going to have to start from the backstretch. But Steve Ulrich in the 25 car taking the pole. Green flag for the first of 2 major times tonight. On our 2 race starts, he is off, and Anthony Caetano not far behind. Our race leaders in the back are going to have some work to do, so they're going to have to start working their way through. But it seems so far everybody clean through turns 1 and 2 here at USA International.
Yeah, almost surprisingly, everybody clean through turn 1 and 2 as these guys are really racing. Let's look at the side-by-side action back here. There's the 93 car of Alan Castle. A good job to get himself up front right here. And side-by-side, we have the 13 of Richard Gross. Oh, and the 38 car of Peter Murphy sideways down into the infield. Or not into the infield, into the inside wall there. And that is going to bring out our first caution of the night. 11 laps to go here. Trouble for
there was
a couple
absolutely
of drivers.
Yeah, massive wreck, including a lot of those guys that qualified up towards the top. The first time I think I've seen Nick Nickerson involved in a crash in quite a while, but here is the root of it. Trying to diagnose what drivers that is. That is it's the 12 car of Roman Henry there, who qualified quite well tonight. This is on the way, I believe, into turn number 1 there, because you see pit exit on the left side. Heading into corner entry, somebody gets into the back of both the 12 car and the car to his outside. That's the 23 of Victor Weaver. Getting a little bit farther into the corner on the 12 car. That's, of course, Roman Henry. And then Gary Wright up top in the 6 car. Kind of starting a chain reaction. There's the 22 of Carter Talley. A few drivers making a by there on the high side, including the 36 of Alex Bowser trying his first race in the series tonight. But behind that, I think it was the 10 of Matt Crockett got involved. The 83 car, the 76. A few guys were able to go there over top. There's the 64 car of Ricky Hart Jr., who we know very well. But there in the aftermath, you see both Nick Nickerson and Kevin Foster in those identical liveries in the red and white. They're getting into a few cars there in the aftermath. So there's just a lot of moving pieces here, and you kind of don't have a choice at a track as thin as here at USA International. You're going to get involved in the aftermath of some wrecks.
Yeah, definitely a lot of moving pieces, and like you said, that's just how things go. Let's watch on board with Nick Nickerson as he tries to avoid this wreck.
I mean, that really gives you the idea. He hit almost 3 identical painted cars there. Like, going through, he did his very best, tried to avoid, but didn't just get involved in 1 wreck. He got involved in 3. Now's the question of, is it enough damage to that car worth repairing, or is he just going to head through to the end? And, I mean, only 10 laps to go. You don't have a ton of time. Might as well just see what that car's got in it and try to finish it off. But we do have a lucky dog, it would seem, so the 32 car of... Gotta figure out who the 32 car is. It gets confusing with the race order when we freeze the field, but that is Terry Condis. Let's take a look at the wave around. He was 6th prior. And he went to the back, I guess, as a result of that incident.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey, Bill.
Well, just like Daytona, we have a glitch in the old iRacing control system here. Since we didn't fill the field, it dumped everybody in one heat race. So Brett is currently setting up another session right now. And it'll be under Brett. And it'll be password protected. And... typical password, Evan. So just so you know, it'll be qualifying followed by a 50-lap feature. So we've told everybody to stay here for right now, run some laps, and then, you know, as soon as we get that session open, we'll run that session.
Okay, sounds good.
I apologize. I know that puts confusion on you and the viewers and everybody else, but iRacing... They need to fix their heat race format. You know, I set it up to 21 cars make it in each feature or each heat. So if we don't have the full field, they should still break it into even numbers and do it that way. But iRacing's heat race format is terrible.
No problem. We're still here. We're going to have fun, and then we'll load into the new session whenever it gets ready. We'll hang out here, maybe pull some guys in the broadcast booth to talk while we're at it.
Hey, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay, we'll get back to you. I'll pop in and interrupt you again.
Sounds good. All right, Marshall. So, see, these guys are 3 abreast here under what I assume would be caution. I guess they're just riding around having fun. Who do you think we ought to pull into the broadcast booth, Marshall?
Oh, man. Well, we're just getting ready to go green, and whatever this race becomes in the overall grand scheme of things, 10 to go in this little heat race here. But we're going to have some options. I kind of want to see which of the newer faces here, somebody that we don't usually get a chance to talk about in the real series for points here in the regular season. Maybe somebody in this last portion of the race is going to show off a little bit, and they're in the 13 car. That is Richard Gross there, who's having a great start for himself, made the move there almost immediately, and he's working his way through. So maybe we're talking to one of the newer guys, one of the newer faces in the series, or somebody like maybe Terry Condis, somebody like Anthony Caetano. We get a new caution there, second of the night, almost immediately off the bat. again, impressed we went that far. Oh, in the aftermath immediately, the 9 car, I think, Joey Zaremba, who was leading prior to that lap, gets wrecked in the aftermath. So, yeah, I'll leave it up to you, but might be worth talking to somebody that maybe we don't get a chance to often in the regular season.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time to me. Let's see if I can go ahead and pull somebody in here. I'm going to go ahead and grab Richard Gross, see if he's got a copy. Mr. Gross, this is Evan Wallop in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, since we're kind of waiting for new session to be put up, I guess y'all are just out there having fun. Saw you're up there at the front. You're right behind the pace car, and I guess if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is your first time here with the Bandit Racing League. So,
This is my first time racing, and I've been spotting for the 07 car for a while.
oh, have you so what made you? I'm assuming that you're friends with him, and that's why you're racing here today.
Yes, sir. It's like I was gonna plan on spotting him for today, but for some reason it wouldn't let me. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm hopping on.
Hey, well, that sounds good. Glad to see you out here racing. Love to see the more people, the merrier, out here racing. How's it feel? Well, what's your plan once we get into this 50-lap race? Obviously, we're just having fun right now, but do you have a plan going in, or are you just coming in here trying to have fun?
I'm just trying to finish this race. I know I'm not fast in these things, but it looks like Nick Nixon's able to actually do some decent pace with these. So.
Hey, well, that's how it goes. One more question for you. Do you expect to be running with us full time next season, or is this just a one-off?
I'm definitely gonna be spotting. I'm definitely gonna be spotting for you guys. I think I missed the join time, but definitely be spotting for 07 car.
All right, sounds good. Good to talk to you, buddy. Good luck. Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
All right, so good.
May have noticed.
Good to talk to people.
Yeah. I was just about to say, you made a notice there in the background, the 32 of Terry Condis, who I believe was sitting there third on the restart, third in the pacing line. He wrecked in an attempt to get the tires warmed up to temperature, and that's one thing we should mention. You can even see it from the guys weaving back and forth, but these street stocks are really weighty when they move to each side, so they can be tough to keep under you. Just look at how much they're swiveling there, and you can really see the car dropping low. Even the camera, when it turns, you can see how much it's dipping. So, unfortunately, that was Terry Condis there. Unfortunate casualty of that as he was trying to get his tires warmed up. So he is out of the pacing line and in the pits taking repairs. But yeah, as you were saying, it's nice to kind of get a chance to talk to some of our drivers we see every week. But you know, in the post-race interviews and stuff like that, we don't always get to talk to people. So tonight might be a nice way to see some new faces up here at the front, call some new guys, and maybe talk to some people that we've had in the series for a while, but haven't quite got to know very well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a good time. It ought to be a lot of fun for this All-Star Invitational race. Here, let me go ahead and cut my microphone up just a little bit more, so hopefully you guys can hear me good. I don't know why I'm a little bit quiet tonight. That's definitely strange. Let's see what we got going on up front. I believe the lights are out on the pace car. That means we're getting ready to go green yet again. It's going to be Charles Oberg up front. No, it's going to be Richard Gross up front. Where is Charles Oberg? In the timing tower he's showing is up front. Not sure where he's actually at. Since these guys are just having fun, the timing tower is not being very friendly right now. But that 13 car, Richard Gross, is going to lead us to green here, and we'll see how this goes. Diving down into the corner, got a big jump for the 13 car. The 79 of Anthony Caetano and the 76 of Mark Allen Bivens are going to be side by side right behind him, and 3 wide just a little bit further back. 64 car of Ricky Hart Jr. giving a little bump to the 9 of Joey Zaremba. Going to be 3 wide again. The 9 car pushing up the track into the 83 of Greenwell.
Up front, we're side by side for the lead here. Mark Allen Bivens is just sending it in now. Whoa, the 88 car gets into the 13. The 88 of Hogan into the side of Richard Gross we just talked to. Massive wreck. The 13 car on its lid and back over again. Almost immediately, though. A great move there by Bivens to set up all that chaos. But unfortunately, Richard Gross, who we just talked about, was looking quick for a lack of confidence here in the street stocks. But well, the tiniest mistake can trigger a huge wreck, and our leader was just involved in the aftermath of said wreck. USA International is a crazy venue, to say the least.
Yeah, so there's the 9 car of Joey Zaremba. Behind him is going to be the 85 car of Cody Welch right there. You see all these guys involved in these accidents. Just having fun out here. Hopefully our actual all-star race, once we actually get to race, and it isn't going to be as chaotic as this is. But real quick, let's go ahead and talk about points, because this isn't a points-paying race, but we've got the time right now. So let's go ahead and talk about points for just a second. Nick Nickerson, of course, is on top of the board, followed by Cody Welch, Ricky Hart Jr., and Benjamin Lacey. So last week was a cutoff race, and these are the official points after the cutoff race last week at Talladega. So we have 4 races left in our regular season. After tonight, we have Kansas Speedway, followed by Homestead Miami Speedway, then Road America, and Richmond Raceway. So it's going to be Nick Nickerson, Cody Welch, Ricky Hart Jr., and Benjamin Lacey all battling for those positions, or battling for our championship after tonight. It'll be starting next week, and it'll be for the next 4 weeks. Nickerson, Welch, Hart, and Lacey all battling to see who will be the champion. The new race server is up, though, from what I see, so we will be joining that. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and go to the schedule. I'm going to show you guys that. And we will be right back in that new server. All right, guys, we're back here loading into the news session, getting ready. I'm not in there yet, but Marshall is. You want to go ahead and tell us who's on top of the board?
I can. I was actually just remarking that it's remarkably similar there to the previous session. Nick Nickerson currently on top with only a minute left to go in the qualifying session. But yeah, currently on the top it is Nick Nickerson, Kevin Foster in second. The two identical red and white liveries there. Hopefully that doesn't get too confusing. But those two guys are right next to each other on the front row provisionally as we speak. Then it's Brett Guzik, Carter Rousseau, and behind Carter Rousseau tonight, a new face, one of the invites here for the event in tonight's show. Brandon Jackson actually qualified fifth, did better than he did on his first attempt. Then we got Benny Hogan, Cody Welch, Ricky Hart, Mark Keedeman making his debut tonight, another invite, and Trey Ellis round off your top 10. So fairly similar to before. But this time, a couple guys that didn't qualify earlier were able to, including Curtis Yancey, who qualified in 13th, and Steve Ulrich, who qualified in 23rd. But except for a few names, and then of course, I've unfortunately loaded myself onto the graphic by accident when I entered the session, so I am not here. But save for me, 4 other drivers have yet to run a lap with only, now 7, 6, 5 seconds left in qualifying.
Yeah, all right, we're in here now. We're looking at it, getting ready to go here. Everybody running their laps, going to be a lot of fun. Street stocks at USA. Let's see, in one thing, Curtis Yancey has run a lap. They're in 13th position right now, sitting P13. But now it's taken us a little while, but we're ready to get going. We got a 50-lap feature here at USA. The identical Starsky and Hutch paint schemes, two beautiful paint schemes, but the identical Gran Torino's going to lead us to green here. The 2 of Nick Nickerson there on the inside, and the 73 of Kevin Foster there on the outside. These numbers aren't exactly what they are in the league. It's the all-star race. Things are a little bit different here. Kevin Foster's 73, Ricky Hart Jr.'s 44, but Brandon Jackson's still 99. Guzik still 04, Cody Welch still 85. So we've got a couple of changes, couple things still the same, but we're about ready to get going. We should be rolling any second now. And with Nick Nickerson starting up front, he's definitely got to be one of the favorites.
Hey, you want to grab us real quick? Grab those other 2 for me real quick.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab them. So we got Bill Harkins right here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 other guys if I can grab them. See if I can find them. All right, we got Bill Harkins, Kevin, and Terry up here in the booth. So, Bill, if you just want to take it away, I know you had a couple of things to say before this all-star race, so go on ahead, Bill.
Well, what I wanted to say is, first of all, to the viewers, thanks for being here tonight. Kevin and Terry were 2 of the original members with me from the get-go. So I wanted to bring them guys in here because we've been here, from day 1 of the league. We all met in the street stocks running around this racetrack, getting our feet wet. And we've all been together the whole time. And it means a lot to me. And it meant a lot to me to do this all-star race this year that way. So just wanted to give Kevin and Terry a chance to say hello and tell everybody their story.
First off, thank you guys for being on the race, and thank you for all the fans out there watching and tuning in. It means a lot to us. The past 4 years have been a great journey here in the Bandit Racing League, and man, it's been a pleasure ever since. And I can't thank you guys and Bill Harkins enough for what he does for me and everyone else out here on the track tonight.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you now.
All right, that's perfect. Glad to be here. Love the Bandit Racing League. I've always been a true fan. I've tried to race in it, but I just more enjoy watching broadcasts and do what I can to try and keep up with y'all. But I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate being able to talk to each and every one of you.
Well, we're glad to have all 3 of you guys here, getting ready to go green here at USA International Speedway. Kevin, you're on the front row here, so Good luck to all three of
Yeah.
you before we get ready to go.
Our 1-2 here, so.
All right, good luck, guys.
All right, if you wouldn't mind moving us back up there, Evan. Thank you for broadcasting.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure. Well, we are going green. I can put them back up there for you, Evan. But if you want to call the first of, well, probably many very exciting laps here to start off tonight's All-Star race.
Yeah, if you're going to put him back up there, Nick Nickerson in our lead down the straightaway, diving into turn 3. Nickerson in the lead. Brett Guzik is going to be in second, followed by Kevin Foster and Brandon Jackson, who's making the charge up through the field. Jackson looking to the inside. Not going to have anything working. It's single file for a good ways down the front. Before we get double file right here, it's the 88 car of Benny Hogan up there on the outside. The 54 of Mark Keteman down on the inside. Battle forming right in front of them, though. Look at the 85 car. Cody Welch diving inside of Carter Rousseau in the lime green car to the outside.
Yeah, we're starting to see those familiar faces and those new faces start to mix it up a little bit. Guys battling with guys that they've never seen before, and that can definitely play an effect. Now the 54 going side by side with the 52 car. I think we just said a moment ago that was, already forgetting Carter Rousseau. Going side by side, a few of our newer drivers here battling right behind Cody Welch, proven driver in the series, second in the points. Right behind them, though, Benny Hogan, that's a familiar face, and an unfamiliar paint scheme. Huge wreck here on the exit of turns 3 and 4 through the middle. That's the 44. Normally, that is not Ricky Hart Jr., but tonight it is the 44 of Ricky Hart Jr., one of our playoff Final Four. I saw Curtis Michaelis there in the number 10 car as well. We're still wrecking here, just trying to get back up to speed. The 25 car there, who was our pole sitter in race 1, or in the original heat. Steve Ulrich is involved, and a couple guys just now turned around, getting back up to speed. Only 4 laps into tonight's event.
So there's a ride on board with Hunter Henry, but it really all happened in front of him. So let's see if we can take another look and see what happened.
Whoa. Yeah, a strong send there from Curtis Michaelis. That was from the inside line. Just looked like he couldn't quite check up in time. Thought the car was going to woe it up a little bit earlier than he was able to. But there's the 44. Ricky Hart, kind of all on his own. Was on the top line. Would have had a little bit of work to do to get around the outside of the 10 car there in the next corner. But yeah, the 10, I don't know if he was getting a push there from Curtis Yancey, who was right behind him, or what. But whatever it may be, he was shot up there to the high line in the hurry. Maybe contact between the 51 and the 10. Something maybe to check out from the blimp cam or something like that. But the 44 car, kind of just an innocent bystander to our first caution of the feature race.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at it one more time. Now that you say that, and see if there was a little bit of contact right there. This angle ought to give us a good view as they dive down into the corner. And yeah, it looks looks like that 51 car gave the 10 a little bit of a bump.
Yeah, I don't even think it was necessarily the bump or the extra speed that threw him off. It was just kind of how they squared it up here. These very triangular noses on the street stock car kind of hooked the back of his quarter panel, did Curtis Yancey there to the 10 car of Curtis Michaelis, and in turn shot him up there to the right side, which is unfortunately where Ricky Hart was at the time. And just like that, the chain reaction starts once again. We're going to see that tonight, where if you see a wreck at all, or you see anything bad start to happen, unless a miracle happens, that's at least 4 to 5 cars there at minimum getting involved in that wreck.
And let's take a look at it one more time. From another angle, guys trying to miss it. And that's the 9 car of Hunter Henry, I believe. Yeah, Hunter Henry running the 9 car tonight. And there you see the carnage on the front straightaway. But that is the thing about street stocks. These things are resilient. They can get through some accidents. They can get through some damage. So we'll see who ends up on front after 50 laps of that. Lap 3 of 50 down. And I believe it should be Steve Ulrich on the top, possibly. No,
that's
could be Nick Nickerson on the top.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can let you guys all into a little secret on the technical side of things. When iRacing does this, where it has no cautions and we're meant to just freeze the lap count until we go green, iRacing is literally just counting where on track guys are at each timing line before the finish line. So what you see on the timing tower isn't necessarily where guys are on the restart, it's where they are in reference to the finish line. So the guy right in front of the line as they go by it they go to the top of the timing tower, and then they go past it. So that's just something that we're going to have to get used to tonight. It's just how iRacing does things in the background, so it can be tough for the programs we use to try to pick it up. So that'll just be a temporary thing, but make sure that you're only listening to the timing tower when we go to restart. Speaking of which, restart number 2 at tonight's event, the first one overall in the feature race. Nick Nickerson, a powerful start to tonight's race. Brett Kuzik in behind him, who started second. Got up to speed fairly quickly, but side by side for third, the final podium spot early in the feature race. That is Brandon Jackson. Axon Jackson, as he's known, he's had a rough last couple weeks, but now he's to the outside of Kevin Foster, who qualified second in tonight's event. They do go side by side, staying that way. The 99 car doing a nice job there to keep some speed in the top line. But now Carter Rousseau, one of tonight's invitees, to the inside, trying to make the move on not only him, but maybe Kevin Foster through turn number 2.
And it looks like the caution is going to be out yet again, freezing the field. Nick Nickerson and Brett Guzik out front. Accident between Hunter Henry, Mark Allen Bivens, Joey Zaremba, Ricky Hart Jr., Eddie Haggy. A good bit of guys going to be involved in this one as well. Matt Crockett, Finsler, Bowser. Let's see if we can take a look at it.
So from the looks of it, from what I can see, it kind of all starts with Peter Murphy there off of 2. We're going to see, off of 3. We're going to see a replay right here. There's the 44 car, Ricky Hart Jr., who we saw a moment ago. He kind of gets checked up into by the 22 car, and that's, I think, the 38 there of Alex Bowser in behind there. The 3 guys kind of, funnel up, form kind of a sandwich there, and really nothing that that either the 22 car or the 44 could do, though the 22 car did check up significantly there on the exit of corner number 4. You see, he comes through. The 22 car is about half a car length ahead of the 44. Like, they are decently spread out, but I'm not sure if it's just he got on the gas there slower coming out of 4, but really didn't get up to speed. The 22 car, or the 44 car, just wasn't prepared. It slams right into the back of him. Such a small margin of error to react to, and I don't think that the 38 car of Alex Bowser did get into the 44 car. It was just, kind of a discrepancy there in speed coming out of 4, and then in the aftermath, the 97 car, I think that's normally Eddie Haggy, and it is tonight, was involved as well, and a couple guys up there on the top in an attempt to avoid all shunting into the outside wall.
Yeah, so there's the damaged 44 car of Ricky Hart Jr. As we head back live here, I'm just going to go ahead and take the timing tower away till we get ready to go back green. The lights are still on the pace car right now. Let's take a look at all of our drivers. Here on Skype, we got Bill Harkins up here. Of course, Marshall Crocker in the top right corner. Nick Nickerson, Ricky Hart Jr., Greenwell, Jackson, Leakey, Welch, and Matt Crockett. All here, they see Brandon Jackson getting some to drink. All here, getting ready to get going. Again, 50 laps around this track. I don't believe. How many laps have we done so far, Marshall?
We've completed 5 successfully. So it's going to be lap 6 when we go back to green, so 44 to go.
Well, that's not too bad. 44 laps to go. Hopefully these guys can keep it clean for the rest of it. We've definitely got some guys that are great at short tracks, but maybe some of these guys aren't as good as short tracks. We just hope that we can get a nice long green flag run to kind of really see what these guys can do. But we'll see if we can do it. What is your expectation? Do you think it can happen? I think it's going to take us a couple tries before we can get that long green flag run, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some driver patience. I think it's going to take some self-awareness for sure to say, okay, if we don't want this thing to be, constantly just laps under yellow not being counted, I think you will have to be a little bit more conscious about it. But at the same time, so many guys in the field, a fairly short race. I mean, if this ran ran green to the end, the remainder of this race would be like 13 or 14 minutes. So there's not a ton of time on paper. So as a driver, you definitely want to take your opportunities where you can get them. But again, that clashes with the overall idea of, well, let's try to get some green flag laps in here, because no driver likes just caution laps, especially when they're not being counted. So yeah, I think guys are gonna smarten up a little bit, or not smarten up necessarily, but just be extra careful here on the first couple laps, or at least that's the hope. You just talked about, we got some really good short track guys here, most of them up front. I mean, Brandon's won a short track this season. Obviously, Nick, his reputation precedes him. So both guys that we can trust, definitely all the guys up here up front, including some of the top guys from, making their debuts tonight, like Carter Rousseau in the 52 and Mark Keedeman in the 54. More so a question of the guys in the back, how patient can they be, and do they feel more confident late in the feature race. But here we go for the third time in tonight's event, or at least tonight's feature. Green flag, Nick Nickerson leading the field of green there in that, well, numberless entry up front. Brandon Jackson to the inside of Guzik. We're 3 wide into turn number 1. The 54 to the inside, or the outside of the 88. The 85 and Kevin Foster side by side. That's Welch and Foster. Up ahead, Carter Rousseau. Again, an invite to tonight's race, trying to make the move by Jackson and Guzik up into the top 3. Plenty of guys jostling around, but so far, no yellow as we finish up lap number 6.
Yeah, Brandon Jackson there you see to the inside in the 52 car of Carter Rousseau. Well, he was going to look to follow him, but he slid up a little bit there. The 99 car of Brandon Jackson's going to have the advantage, but he's not going to be able to clear him down the straightaway. Straightaway, Brett Guzik is still going to be up there on the outside in the 99 car. Sideways, taking every bit of track that he can to make it work. 52 car, Connor Rousseau getting impatient behind the 99. Looks like he might make it 3 wide down to the inside.
Yeah, he keeps threatening it. He keeps going for those opportunities. There's the 3 wide on the exit to turn number 2. Gets into Jackson in the inside. Now 3 wide. Jackson is the meat in the sandwich here. Going to be tough to pick a corner entry. He gets the back end around, gets loose, but nice save by Jackson. Way to keep it on track. And he's going to get rewarded with 3rd for his efforts. He's to the inside of Brett Guzik now. So a considerable shuffle here, but Carter Rousseau, definitely the biggest beneficiary of that. Got to think with that little bit of contact there, maybe Action Jackson's going to be thinking about a bump and run there to get 2nd back from the 52 car. But up front, Nick Nickerson taking this opportunity to just pull away. The more time these guys battle, the less time they spend tracking down that very quick number 2 car.
Yeah, this early in a race, it's always dangerous to race somebody that rough. You know, I've always heard, treat people like you want to be treated, race people like you want to be raced. And that 99 car wasn't raced too clean with that pass. So if that 99 gets a chance to get by that 52 again, which it looks like he's going to, I can just assume that he's going to not race him too clean. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though, as we see a little bit of action back here. Brett Guzik has fallen back a little bit, but now he's challenging the 54 car of Mark Keteman in front of him.
Yeah, Mark Keteman making his debut tonight. The first race he's had here with us in the Bandit Racing League. Whoa, he almost had quite the train up in his back end just a moment ago. Brett Guzik and Cody Welch there sliding through turn number 3, but we have our 3rd caution of tonight's race, or again, at least this race in particular. Going to try to deduce what that was, but for a couple laps there, we got some good green flag racing. Let's go back and check it out in the replay.
Yeah, looking at the 93 car, the Rogue Energy car of Alan Castle, and just a nice little bump from the 9 car. That's going to send him sideways down into the inside wall, the 9 of Hunter Henry. So let's see if we can rewind, watch it one more time. The 93 running through the corner, the 9 car of Hunter Henry. And it looked like Castle may have got a little bit loose. Hunter Henry wasn't expecting it. Gave him a little bit of a bump, and unfortunately in just the wrong spot. It's going to send the 93 car of Alan Castle around. Hunter Henry involved as well, but not too much damage for either car, I believe. As both guys able to keep going. Heading back live, though, we got some pit stops. There's Brett Guzik in the pits. Nick Nickerson, though, out front.
Yeah, not something we've talked about much, but I think drivers would come close on fuel if they didn't guaranteed have to pit in a 50-lap race here. The street stocks aren't traditionally meant for longer races. I think in the NASCAR Cup cars or the Xfinity cars we run in our series in the regular season normally, they could pretty easily make 50 laps here to track this short, but for the street stocks, I think they are going to have to guarantee a fuel stop. So the question is, do you take that now and try to hope for more, green flag racing later, or do you just bank on cautions if you're one of these race leaders and try to run some laps up front? If you're a guy like Nickerson, Rousseau, Jackson, Hogan, or Keteman, all of the drivers in the top 5, that seems to be the plan for those guys going forward.
Yeah, and while we're waiting under caution here, I'm going to go ahead and pull Mr. Action Jackson into the booth here for just 1 second. Brandon, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Oh, hey, hi.
I saw you under that last caution. You were dancing. What is it you're so excited about? What is it you're dancing about up there?
It's a lot of fun things, man. I haven't driven this car in a long time, and just having fun. It's a fun race, got knocked out of the playoffs last week, so I'm just gonna be having a lot of fun. And we were kind of having a little sing along, and this was having a little dancey dance to it.
Well, I had your camera up there. I saw that you were getting into it more than anybody else on screen was. I just had to go ahead and ask. I was just curious what was going on. But while I got you in here, do you have a plan for the rest of the race, or do you have some sort of strategy, or are you just out there having fun?
That front bumper that I got right there, that's my plan of attack.
Hey, that sounds like a good time. They call you Action Jackson for a reason, so go ahead. I'm gonna let you get back to it and just make it entertaining for us up here in the booth, okay?
Make it entertaining. All sideways on that 3 wide, so I'll see what we can do here.
Sounds good. All right, so that was Brandon Jackson, of course, driver of the 99 car. Had to figure out what he was dancing about.
Yeah, I'd just be more curious to know what song that was, but hey, who knows? If he's in the post-race interview, maybe we can ask. But for now, we got to go to our 4th restart of the race and our 3rd under a caution. Green flag. Nick Nickerson once again leading to green. We just talked to Jackson. Not a very good start, not as a result of his own fault, but I think Mark Keeteman there in the 54 used his front bumper before Jackson could use his. He kind of shuffled him out of the way there. Took that spot before we even crossed the green flag. There is Carter. I got to remember his last name there. Carter Rousseau there. In the 52 car, he started in 2nd, but Benny Hogan has given him a tough time there, trying to make the move there for 2nd as we cross the line for the start of lap number 13.
Yeah, Carter Rousseau, he was running rough with the 2 car of Nick Nickerson, racing the leader rough, and he got raced rough by Benny Hogan there right behind him. Benny Hogan has a challenge from his rear, the 85 car of Cody Welch, looking to his inside, not going to be able to make anything happen. And up here on the top, there's a 51 car of Curtis Yancey. Looks like he's falling back to Kevin Foster. But he may be fighting back.
Yeah, there was a really interesting side-by-side a moment ago between Jackson and Yancey. I mean, the reason that is interesting is no doubt apparent, but those guys settled it very cleanly. Actually had a really good set of 2 wide corners there, and unfortunately we were there for caution number 4 tonight. We only got 2, well, maybe 3 laps there under green. Actually, lap 15 is the lap the caution is going to freeze the field. So, yeah, there was a nice little battle there. Guys are looking really comfortable here in the 3 wides tonight. It's just more so that bumper-to-bumper action that maybe is going to be the cause of our wrecks tonight.
All right, well, let's see if we can figure out what did it this time. Accident between Carter Talley, Gary Wright, a couple other guys possibly, so let's follow Carter Talley. It looks like the 83 and the 97 had some trouble before that, and we're already sideways. So let me see if I can find those guys. Just 1 second. Let's go ahead and look out of the nose of Carter Talley, who was involved here. And there you just really see nowhere for him to go, as it was just covered up in front of him, and right into those guys he went.
Yeah, I think it all stemmed from there was the 36 car of Gary Wright there on the inside. Up to the top side was, that was, I believe, Jason Greenwell there in the 83 car. Yeah, to the inside just gets a little bit too wide there. A slight miscalculation on their end, and, well, in turn, that brought in Talley and many others there in the aftermath. And again, just tough to avoid here at USA International. But here's the incident. You'll see coming through turns number 1 and 2, the exit of 2 specifically. Here's the 36 car of Gary Wright with that, see smiley face there on the front hood. Coming up to the inside of the 83 Nerf car of Jason Greenwell, and just the tiniest little bit of contact. Again, the quarter panel is so sensitive here on these street stock cars, and yeah, Carter Talley, a hard lick there off the 83 car. These things are less than reinforced than the proper NASCAR Xfinity car, so that is not a bump I would have liked to take in real life. But yeah, as a result, they get into each other. But again, the 83 car, for such a hard rack twice in a row, actually not a ton of damage.
Yeah, not too bad there. We're looking at the 51 car. Let's go ahead take a look back at Nick Nickerson, who's up front right now. Got Nickerson up front. Rousseau's going to be second, and that 88 of Benny Hogan is going to be in third position. I believe, are the lights out on the pace car yet?
No. Looking like they're still going again one more time. Probably going to be one to go here this time by. I don't think we have a ton of time left before the green flag, but I just wanted to say I've been really impressed with Carter Rousseau tonight. We've had a few guys here that are making their debuts, particularly two, Carter Rousseau and Mark Keteman, as the lights on the pace car are now off. Both guys that are running in the top 5 right now. So these guys that you've watched all season here in the first 15 rounds of the Bandit Racing League Geezer Authentic Xfinity Series, you've seen how quick they've been, but this just lets you know in certain disciplines with certain practice from some certain really talented drivers who aren't in the series, they can give them a good fight, and it'll be interesting to see if Carter Rousseau can dethrone our current points series champion going into the final round of the playoffs. So something to watch out for in the end of tonight's All-Star race.
It's going to be Rousseau and Nickerson there on the front row. As the pace car dives in, Nickerson down there on the bottom, Rousseau in the lime green on the top. And a big jump from Rousseau, as he's actually going to be leading when they get to the line, diving down into turn 1. Rousseau leading on the outside, but Nick Nickerson's going to come to the lead as they come to the back straightaway. Let's see if Rousseau can keep the momentum up, even though Nick Nickerson is going to have the preferred line down into the corner and side by side as they dive down into turn 3. Rousseau on the outside, Nickerson on the inside. And an accident there, somebody up to the wall. I believe that was going to be the 85 car, Cody Welch.
Yeah, surprisingly okay for the 85 car, who took a huge aggressive lick off the outside wall, but back up to the front here, the battle for the lead, Carter Rousseau. They swapped lines there on the front stretch. Nick Nickerson looked like he was going for the top line a little too soon. Now they're going to switch sides in the much more ideal bottom line taken up by Carter Rousseau. Keep an eye, though, on Benny Hogan there in the 88 car. The more they stay side by side, he can pick a line, maybe give a shove to the guy he wants ahead, and in turn is going to benefit no matter how this battle up front ends. But the 52 car still to the bottom. Nick Nickerson, though, giving him no room. Just what you got to do from that top line. You really got to pressure the bottom guy down, and that is what he is doing, side by side again into the corner. But the 2 car is going to wash up a little bit too much. Now he's out of the top groove, and Benny Hogan's going to get him, maybe even Mark Keteman there, now sitting provisionally 4th. But look at Benny Hogan there, gets in the inside the line, is all set up to go, but unfortunately, caution number 5 coming out just in time to put Nick Nickerson on row 2 for the first time in, man, I don't know how long.
Yeah, let's see if we can figure out what happened here. It's going to be Roman Henry and Joey Zaremba involved in this one. So looking at the 19 car of Roman Henry. Let's rewind, see if we can take a look at it one more time. Looks like he gets involved with the 25. 31 gets into the back of him. And a big lick for the driver of that 18 car, Joey Zaremba. He didn't really have anywhere to go there.
Yeah, it was going to be tough no matter what there into that corner. It was going to be like a 4 wide if he didn't back out in reference to Roman Henry there on the inside. Yeah, it can be so tough, especially to track with as steep of a cornering angle as here at USA International, because obviously you got to get around the corners at a small track really quick, so they're very sharp angle. So when you're coming from the straightaway into the corner, it can be tough to kind of calculate your line based on the guy on the inside, what kind of apex you have to take through the corner. And in that case, he just picked a little bit too high in reference to the car on the outside. And as a result, that brings out caution number 5 of the All-Star race. And I think as we go through with the 2 quicker pairs, we're not going to be running out of drivers particularly. I mean, only a couple of guys that aren't really in the battle here. Thomas Funzer, the only driver out of tonight's race so far. But then Bill Harkins, he's 9 laps down. Carter Talley 4, Victor Weaver 3, Alan Castle 2. But apart from that, everybody's on the lead lap. That is 34 drivers who are still on the lead lap at tonight's event. So we've got plenty of drivers left. That means really anybody is in it. But it does mean the lap traffic, no matter how many wrecks we get, is still going to definitely play a factor late in the race.
Yeah, and right now Nick Nickerson is sitting in 3rd place, I believe. And I know how much you like talking to Nick. So I'm going to go ahead and pull him up into the booth, and I'll go ahead and let Marshall interview Nick under this caution right here.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, Nick, it's Marshall up in the booth. You got me?
How's it going, man?
It's going pretty well. I was just thinking today, like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks. It's been a while since you've been finishing either in first or third there. But we come tonight to the All-Star race, something way different than usual. I know there was some complications, some confusion there a little bit earlier, but it's something so different, so foreign to what everybody else has done this season, but not to iRacing. Do you want to talk about your experience when you hopped into iRacing? You did your very first oval races in the street stock. How much of that knowledge do you think has carried over to tonight?
Well, when I started iRacing, the street stock wasn't even around. I had to start with the Legends. It came a few years later. So I don't really have that much experience in a street stock. But, I race a couple of special races here and there. It's a very fun car, back to the basics. Oval racing, it's kind of slow. It really gets sideways in the corner. It's a lot of fun. And so far, it's been kind of good. And this Carter Russo guy, he's a little bit of a threat. So me and him are going to get pretty rowdy here on this restart.
Yeah, I was just saying it was a really nice move by him. Kind of did the little bit of a crossover there, got to the inside, and that's looking like the really ideal line there for defense. What's the attack plan? Like, how are you getting back up there? You got Benny Hogan, who we know is good in at short tracks. He's shown it all season. Then, of course, Rousseau, who we know can put the bumper to you. Now's the question: how are you going to get them back and then hold down that inside line?
Well, for Carter, we're going to use the bumper, and Benny, I'm going to try and play as clean as possible.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And yeah, not a ton of time left to go here, but I mean, keeping in mind the cautions, the laps freezing, how's that changing your mindset? The fact that the caution laps don't count as they usually do and how they often work out for you out there up front.
It's not a bad deal. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, regular old local racing. We're about to go green here.
Yes, indeed. Best of luck. We're going to let you go, and there we go. Here comes the restart. So we're going to put you back up there, but good luck chasing down Carter.
Yes, 2-car of Nick Nickerson. And there you're watching him, the identical. Torino's heading into the corner. Connor Rousseau going to be with your lead. The 54 of Mark Keteman going to be right behind him, pressuring him. Then we have Nick Nickerson and Kevin Foster in those two identical cars. I do a wider shot. You can really see how far it's single file, but trouble there in the back. That's going to be the 84 car of David Leakey turned around.
Yeah, that's a lot of cars up there towards the front of the pack. Look at the guys still getting involved as we keep going. All throughout the field, guys getting involved and tangled there in the aftermath, and that'll bring out caution here, number 6. And yeah, again, we can only say it so many times, but once one guy goes around, really the entire field does.
All right, so one more time. We'll see if we can watch how this really started. It's the 84 car and the 9 of Hunter Henry. And just a little tap, they had it saved, but it was enough to slow him down, and really that accordion effect and everyone stacking into everyone. The 04 Brett Guzik involved, Welch involved, the 97 car involved as well. Probably half the field involved in that accident. And that is going to bring out another caution for us here tonight. But one unfortunate thing, just saw Benny Hogan posted in the Discord that his internet just went out, and unfortunately I believe that is gonna be it for him tonight, at least for right now. Without internet, of course, not gonna be able to race, and that is gonna be a bummer for him. He was one of the drivers up front, doing really well. But he's going to have to bow out of tonight's competition. The guy who isn't bowing out, though, the 52 car of Connor Rousseau. And a great job from him to be up front.
Well, we've got an offer here in what's becoming kind of our in-between cautions talk show or it's going on here. We've got an offer from a guy who isn't racing tonight. But I had James R. Hartley reach out to me. He's in the Discord here waiting with us. So he's offered to come in, and he's asked the last couple weeks if he can do an interview just to kind of talk about his season so far. And another one of those guys that unfortunately hasn't made the podium yet this season. But yeah, we've got an offer. Somebody wants to hop in and stop by if we have a moment.
Yeah, let's talk to him. I'm going to go ahead and pull him down. And since he's not racing, he can even stay in, talk to us a little bit while it's still green. So I'll pull him down, and you can take it away. Marshall, go ahead.
Hey, James, Marshall in the booth. You got me? Hey, James Marshall in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys? It's nice to be up here finally going on with you guys tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I saw you reach out there. You've stopped by the last couple weeks and asked if you can hop up here. But finally, we have some good opportunities here in the All-Star race. We're still waiting for the pace car to go green. But yeah, if you're not racing in tonight's event, you just kind of want to talk about what you were planning on talking about, maybe your season as a whole. And yeah, I mean, since you're not in the event, you can stay here really as long as you want, man.
It's definitely been a rough start to the season with DNFing a couple times and having some tracks I can't race at, but it's just gonna take some time to get used to some of the tracks. Nick Nickerson being as good on road courses he is, it's gonna have to take some time to practice on those. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Having my driver racing tonight, so it's gonna be fun. It's fun watching him dodging all these wrecks. Got involved in the last wreck, so just trying to hopefully I can be racing back in a couple weeks when if I get my wheel figured out, and yeah, hopefully be back on track pretty soon.
Yeah, well, sounds good. You talk about your representing driver here. Sorry, first of all, who is that, and kind of what's your relationship with them tonight?
Yeah, anyone I know personally, but I'm watching a driver from Michigan Racing. We got the number 8 Spencer Breslin driving down there. So finished P14 at Talladega. So it's good. It's good to hear. It's good to see out of him, especially since we had that big wreck at the end of Talladega. But it's always fun watching newer guys in here driving for smaller teams, so it's gonna be fun, especially at a track like USA.
Yeah, and real quick, you can go ahead and stay in here, but we're going green right now, and the 52 car of Connor Rousseau is going to be up to the front. The 54 car of Mark Tiedemann going to be right behind him, and Nick Nickerson pressuring them in the back at single file for a little bit before we have our first double file action. The 99 of Brandon Jackson and the 51 of Curtis Yancey side by side. Brandon Jackson able to make the pass cleanly, but we know that 51 car isn't going to let him go without too much of a fight. Up in front of that, though, side by side, the number 2 car of Nick Nickerson and the 73 of Kevin Foster, or the 8 of Kevin Foster, down there to the bottom in those identical paint schemes. It's going to bring out another caution, though.
I was going to say, unfortunately, as caution number 7 comes out, looked like he didn't quite clear him in time there at the timing line in order to get the caution to come out. A bit of an intentional wreck there after the line. The 52 car and the 54 car of Rousseau and Tiedemann, 2 guys making their debut tonight who have, had quite the start for themselves. They've been making a name for themselves all race, but unfortunately there was some bumping action going on there at the start of that last run. So maybe guys just joking around, or maybe guys that aren't liking these bumps as much as others.
Yeah, so you can go ahead with what? Well, I guess just one question for you, James. I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add on to what you were saying, but what do you think of the race today? Are you kind of happy to not be in it with as many caution flags as we've had so far?
Say again. No, cut up. Say again.
Oh, I just said what do you think of the race so far today? Are you kind of happy to not be in it and be watching from the sidelines as many caution flags as we've had today?
It's always, yeah, it sucks that you can't be in the race. It's always fun racing, no matter where it is. Obviously, like you were talking to Nick about earlier, getting to start in iRacing with street stocks. It's been a thing that I've been doing for years, not years now, but a couple months now, and finally got a couple wins now in street stocks. I've been winning at Charlotte a little bit, so it's good to. It's fun to be watching these things, but it's even more fun to be on track. So, I think it's definitely a track where as much caution as we had today, it's definitely not uncommon. But, yeah, these are some good drivers out there that, know what they're doing. But you just some things like you guys mentioned earlier with bumper-to-bumper action, some things are going to happen. So it's been fun watching the race, but like I mentioned earlier, it's always fun. It's always fun to be down at the car.
Oh, yeah, it's always definitely fun to be in the car. And Marshall, do you have any more questions for James?
Yeah, you're just talking about some of the tracks that are coming up and your preparation for them. You were talking about, guys like Nick are always going to be quick there at the road courses, but when it comes to trying to finish off your season on a high note, what are your tracks you're looking forward to the next couple weeks? Which ones are going to require the most practice?
Schedule, actually, see here. We got Kansas coming up. That's always a pretty good track for me in the Xfinity. I've been running some AIs there recently, but it's definitely a track where you gotta watch your tires for sure. with diving into the corner. But I like to think I'm pretty good at Richmond and Homestead, so those are good ones. But definitely Road America with how small some of those corners are and how tight it is. So it's gonna be interesting at Road America and seeing where I can finish there. But it's gonna be definitely a good track for Nick Nickerson as all the road courses usually are. But yeah, it's been good to hop up here in the booth with you guys and enjoy the rest of the race.
Yeah, great to talk to you. You enjoy it as well, watching it from the sidelines, and hopefully you can be in one before too long.
All right, yep, thank you guys. See you.
See ya. All right, so Marshall, you talked a little bit about Road America, and you're a road course guy yourself. So, what do you expect in a couple weeks when we go to Road America? I know the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll probably have to continue this conversation a little bit later. But what do you expect from Road America in the Xfinity cars?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of to quickly summarize, I think Road America, as far as the stock cars are concerned, it's certainly an entirely different story in the series I'm used to on the road course side of things. But for the NASCARs, ton of long straights, going to be a ton of opportunities to get the power down. The slipstream might actually come into play at a road course for the first time this season. So as opposed to Long Beach or Roval, much more tight tracks with lots of corners rather than long straights, it'll certainly be a big tone shift. But we can talk about that in just a moment. For now, we're getting ready to go green single file for the first time in tonight's event. But that is the green flag number 7 of tonight's race. Carter Rousseau and Mark Keteman lead us to green here. Nick Nickerson there third in the line, so won't get to be on the inside the line there of row 2. Instead, we're all on the inside line as we go single file. But cars starting to file in through turns number 1 and 2. Everybody's splitting up a little bit, but that should mean we get a few more green flag laps. Currently, nobody hopping out of line to make a pass, but everybody right bumper to bumper as we finish up the first lap of the restart.
Yeah, great job for everybody to keep it clean so far. Hopefully we can have a nice little green flag run. But there you see Carter Rousseau up front doing a great job, Mark Keteman, and then Nick Nickerson. And Nick Nickerson, his last lap was just the best lap of the race with a 23.15. So that 2 car of Nick Nickerson setting down some blazingly fast times, as a caution is going to be out once again.
Well, in just a moment, once we figure out what that is, I can finish my Road America discussion there. But for now, it's the O2 car of Charles Oberg there to his inside. I'm thinking it's Alex Bowser, the 38 car we saw before. It is. So, yeah, to the inside, just carried a little bit too much speed in there. The O2 car left kind of a gap, like he was on the outside through the straight. On corner entry, didn't dive down before the corner, so there was technically an opportunity there, but that's one of those tight ones that you really only make when you're trying to move through the field. But again, it's the unfortunate kind of middle ground we find ourselves in here tonight at the All-Star race. A short enough race, meaning you really got to get your moves done quick, but enough cautions that you want to you want to get more green flag laps in. So that's a tough spot there. But yeah, those are the moves we're going to have to see tonight if guys want to make their way through the field. And as actually James, who we were just talking to, alluded to, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, and you don't always have control over it.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and continue what you were talking about Road America.
Yeah, so Road America, I was just saying, lots of long straights. It's a very fun track as a driver. I'd imagine even more so in real life, just because there's so many of those high-speed opportunities. And corners are so much more about how can I build up speed before the next straightaway rather than taking the corner perfectly. And what I mean by that is, at a track like the Roval, for example, for those of you that watched our broadcast earlier this season at the Charlotte Roval, in each corner, besides, of course, the banking, if you took a corner and maybe you made one little mistake, the next corner was right there again. So if you make a mistake on your apex, as long as you're set up for your next apex, that mistake is rather minuscule. You can move on from it quite quickly, and you don't have to worry about, the aftermath of your mistake. But at Road America, every corner, and well, maybe not every corner, but almost every corner directly leads onto a very long straight where you've got to build up your momentum, and high speed is key. So there's high-speed corners like the world-famous Carousel. That's a downhill sweeping right-hander. That's going to be one of the most fun corners to watch, but really every other corner on track, like the start-finish hill, that very famous upward sloping section that everybody knows who's seen a race at Road America. But those corners there that lead into a longer straightaway, the more speed you can build up before you go down one of those straights, that in turn may give you the opportunity to pass somebody in the slipstream or defend from a slipstream in behind you, it'll be really different. And I think it's one that will be easier, if anything, for guys to learn. Maybe not one that they've driven in the stock car. That's the one advantage that I think guys would have had at Roval, is that, the guys that don't know road courses may have already done Roval at some point. Road America, you don't typically run in the Xfinity cars. I know they just added it to the real-life NASCAR season this year, along with Circuit of the Americas, where they go this weekend. But Yeah, I think it's one that if you can just figure out your corners to build up speed rather than hit perfect apexes like Nick Nickerson, our resident road course guy, has mastered, I think there's definitely potential for guys to pick up speed quick, and those guys that always say that they are going to compete for podiums, compete for top fives, but don't think they can win. That might be the opportunity for some guys to dethrone Nick and take away his chances at the perfect road course season.
Yeah, we've got Kansas, Miami, then Road America, and then Richmond. So that's 4 really different tracks right there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys haven't joined us for much of the season, we've got 4 guys that are going to be racing those 4 tracks, trying to figure out who is going to be the champion at the end of it. And, of course, one of those guys sitting in 3rd place right there, Nick Nickerson, and doing a great job. And there's the 54 already on the rear bumper of the 52 in front of him, the 84 getting the free pass there. But lights are out on the pace car, getting ready to go back green. Going to be Rousseau, Keteman. Oh, then that's Foster in 3rd. I'm sorry. That is not Nickerson in 3rd. And we're getting ready to go green here. Rousseau leading us back to green, and a big jump for Rousseau and Keteman, who are out front right there, the 52 and the 54. And there's the move to the inside. The 54 is going to make Keteman going to be looking to lead down the back straightaway. They're going to be side by side, bumping off each other. Keteman to the inside. Rousseau to the outside.
Yes, indeed. Keteman finally taking that opportunity. We saw him putting the bumper to him before the race even went green there in the warm-up lap, and he's doing it again. Rousseau all over the back bumper. Guys swinging and waving everywhere as we run down the front stretch. Still now trying to get by his car to Rousseau. We saw earlier he was able to get that move done 3 wide. This time, he's only got to worry about 1 car, but in a way, without that 3 wide chaos, it might get even tougher. Just one important thing to mention, just a slight slip-up. David Leakey is genuinely the race leader as the result of a complication with how wave rounds went, and now we get our 9th caution of the day, so not quite time to break down that battle any further between Keteman and Rousseau. But yeah, until we have a fix here from our race director tonight, David Leakey does technically sit as the provisional race leader, but that is just as a result of a wave round gone wrong, and I'm sure that will be corrected, or if it's not, at least this caution will bunch the field up once again.
An interesting night tonight. You know, all kinds of things are happening, going on tonight. Who knows what's happening? I don't even know what's going on, but we're having a good time, and that's what matters. We're getting to talk to these guys and hopefully getting to see a little bit behind the scenes of these guys. So I want to hear from the comments. Who do you all want to hear from? I want to know who you want to hear from. We want to talk to who you guys want to talk to. So not only do I want to know who you want to hear from, but what do you want me to ask them? Or what do you want to ask them? That way we can go ahead and ask them. We can talk to them and see everything's getting straightened out right now. But we'll see who we ought to pull down next. Who do you think it should be?
There was some interest for Hunter Henry. I know he's got plenty of supporters in tonight's YouTube chat. Plenty of guys here watching him. So, yeah, it might be a guy to bring in. Andy's currently sitting in 7th, so pretty successful race tonight for the number 9 car. So, might be worth pulling him in, getting a few words in.
That's who I was thinking as well. Let me see if I can find him. I don't believe that I see him in the Discord here. Do you see him, Marshall?
I do not, unfortunately. So, yeah, unfortunately, those actually, if anybody can get a hold of him, if anybody watching happens to be living with or in and around, or maybe have his number, maybe to give a shout to Hunter Henry, just tell him to hop in the Discord. That way we can interview him for a moment. But yeah, unfortunately, we would like to, but until we have him in the voice channel here, we can't pull him into the to the interview booth.
Yeah. So what Marshall said, go ahead and let him know that we want to talk to him. But I hear we want to talk to the 85, Cody Welch. 2 people saying Cody Welch. So let me see if I can find him. And I do see the 85 of Cody Welch, so I'm going to go ahead and pull him down. Hey, Cody, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hey, Cody, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hello?
Yeah, I can see him on Skype. Appears he can't hear us up here in the booth. So actually, the first time tonight, with all the chaos and stuff, actually the first time tonight we've had an unsuccessful interview attempt. So add that to the bingo card of confusion.
Yeah, we'll try him just a little bit later in a couple of laps. We ought to be going green before too long here, though. So maybe we can try him next caution, if there's another caution. Maybe there won't be another caution.
Oh, okay. I think he's just got the word. So we'll give it a shot next time. I think he's just been told by somebody there with him. So I appreciate the assist there from whoever on Cody Welch's side is watching there with him at home. But just, yeah, a couple cars getting sent by the pace car so we can get stacked up again. Mark Keteman going to lead us to our 10th restart of the race. New face there up front again. 2 entirely new drivers to the series there on the top 2. Right ahead of Kevin Foster. Just to clarify, that is Kevin Foster's livery. Of the number, 73 tonight, traditionally the 8 car of Kevin Foster. But again, we're going to do another single file restart. We've now switched from the double to the single in an attempt to kind of quell the cautions and get a little bit of normalcy, a little bit of uniform racing there for a moment before we go green. But a very early restart there for Keteman in the 54 car. Might work, might not, and I think in this case it won't. The 52 car Rousseau means he's going to have plenty of time there down into turn number 1 to get the slipstream, but it might not work. The 52 car has to make a big save there on the entry to turn number 2, and now Kevin Foster looking to the inside. Both guys, a huge run up to 3. Kevin Foster thought he might go for the move there down the inside, but a great move on Rousseau. Now might be a great move on Keteman. About halfway, we just passed halfway in tonight's All-Star race, and Kevin Foster is looking for win number 1 on the season.
Yeah, huge move for Kevin Foster. He's a guy who we know can do it. We just haven't seen the performance this season that he had last season or in previous seasons before. But he's out here. He wants to prove that he's still got it. He can still do it. And here he is racing for second place right now. He got in front of Rousseau. He's going to try to get in front of Keteman now. But Rousseau's definitely giving him the bumper. Rousseau looking to the inside, and it looks like he's going to try and take the inside down into turn 1. We'll see if he does. He's going to. It's going to be Rousseau onto the inside. Kevin Foster up to the outside. Keteman's going to try and drive away. But right behind those two guys battling, it's Curtis Yancey.
Yeah, side by side, Kevin Foster unfortunately not on the ideal line this time by, so Carter's going to have the advantage. But again, the same as we saw in the very first stint of tonight's event, when the guy up front there doesn't really have to worry about cars in behind, no pressure's being put on, it means he can just run away and kind of focus on his own race, make up some time. Kevin Foster starting to put the bumper out, but it did not work to his advantage. He got into Rousseau, but that meant Yancey got into him. Curtis Yancey up there in the third provisionally around the outside of Foster. Foster sweeps up a little bit, though. He's going to force him to the top line. The 51 car going to have a good run here down the front stretch. But in the short term, that was going to hurt him. Now they're side by side for third. This will give Rousseau time to go track down Keteman once again.
Yeah, the 51 of Curtis Yancey sent up into the corner a little bit. And there's some contact with the wall for Kevin Foster. The 9 car of Hunter Henry putting himself into position now. Hunter Henry looking under Kevin Foster, and he's going to take away third position.
This is getting nuts here back in this battle for third. I love it. Yeah, Hunter Henry, a guy we were just trying to talk to a moment ago, a fan favorite. There he goes, beating some top series talent. Brandon Jackson, Kevin Foster. I mean, to talk about the names there behind him, Curtis Yancey. This is what we like to see, the highest positioned full-time driver in the series. Hunter Henry tonight at the All-Star race.
Yeah, great job from Hunter Henry, but he has Brandon Jackson right on his bumper, and Brandon Jackson, as well as Kevin Foster and Curtis Yancey, all looking to attack. Brandon Jackson's going to be looking to the inside, the 99 car to the inside of the 9 of Hunter Henry, down the straightaway there side by side, diving into turn 3. Brandon Jackson is going to have the position. Brandon Jackson up to third position. Hunter Henry down to fourth, but Curtis Yancey is going to be to his inside. Blocked him off, though. So it's going to be Keteman, Rousseau, Jackson, your top 3.
Hunter Henry doing a really good job there to block the bottom line. That is definitely where you want to be to put the car defensively. Curtis Yancey really doesn't have that many options there. If he keeps defending the inside with cars to his top line, Yancey can't really go high either. But the caution comes out again, and that makes it an even 10. Going to go double digits in tonight's event, but we did get a good little green flag run in there, and we'll only have 15 to go when we finish tonight's 10th caution.
Terry Kahn is involved in that one. I think we're going to have to go back just a little bit further to see if we can see what happened. So he was slow down on the inside.
Yeah, already had engine damage from something. That looks like he actually just burned his engine out. I don't think he... Yeah, I guess damage pre-existing. was all it took to flare up some engine troubles there. You see the considerable smoke there for a moment before he, well, really just ran out of gear, it would seem. I'd imagine from the inside of the cockpit of the car, you can probably even see the speedometer just dropping there, the tachometer, I should say, dropping to 0 there. And yeah, I mean, got to the inside, but unfortunately on iRacing, if you can't make it back to the pits and the car dies, they just assume the worst and throw a yellow. So, well, actually, that makes it even more impressive, the nice little green flag run we had, and the fact that it didn't end with an actual, well, you know, wreck into a caution.
Yeah, and now we'll see if we can go ahead and grab Cody Welch. Hey, Cody, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Looks like, based on his eyes, looks like he's trying to get in, so we will see. This is where the Skype camera comes extra in handy.
Yeah, we see him on the Skype camera looking at a top
trying to
screen
connect.
up there. Let me see if I can try and pull him down again. Hey, Cody, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Working on it.
Oh, now we can hear
you. There you go. All right, you got us now?
I have the feeling he still can't hear us. We're getting there. I appreciate the effort, though. I feel like if there were any race other than the All-Star race, he wouldn't be trying to put this much attention into it. But I appreciate the attempt. Hopefully, he can get his input figured out.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the attempt. Maybe we'll have to catch him. Maybe he can get it in a couple cautions, or maybe after the race. Maybe we'll just have to catch him after the race. You know what? I'm sure at the very least we'll be interviewing him in the next couple of races. So I'm sure we'll talk to him soon. But up front, it's going to be the 54 of Mark Keteman, Connor and Carter Rousseau that we've seen pretty much the whole race up front. But Brandon Jackson, Hunter Henry, Curtis Yancey, Trey Ellis, Brett Guzik, some new names up there, and some fast drivers.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder the further and further we go, we see the lights on the pace car are off, so restart number 10 is about to get underway. But I'm curious, based on how many guys are still out who haven't pitted, I'm wondering if this is even a pit stop type of race. Nick Nickerson, we saw earlier, didn't have damage but came down pit road, presumably for fuel. But, you know, late in the race, only 15 to go. Rousseau and Keteman still yet to come into the pits. So we'll see if that comes into play. Who can make it to the end on fuel? But for now, we saw a very early restart last time, though now we're double file stacked up again. So Keteman there will have to defend more so from Rousseau this time by green flag for the 11th time in tonight's feature race at the All-Star Invitational here for the Bandit Racing League. Down into turn number 1, the 54 and the 52. If you're just joining us, some new names in the series that you may not recognize, but there's a familiar face. Hunter Henry there in the 9 car of Curtis Yancey on his inside, side by side up towards turn number 4. Yancey's got the ideal line, but we've seen Hunter Henry doing a great job defending there from that top side.
And there's Brett Guzik in the 04 right behind them. The car that we were watching him in practice, or at least I was, and sideways in and out of every single turn, but wheeling it all throughout practice, and he's doing the same thing in the race today. The 04 car of Brett Guzik doing a great job sitting in 5th position right now, just getting by Hunter Henry to his inside.
Yeah, Guzik, I think, is definitely a guy to watch out for. I think he's kind of been a sleeping giant in this whole thing based on his early practice laps. And, well, there is caution number 11 as it comes out just a moment later. But now I think it's 13 to go, and we go back next time by. So making some progress through and through. But I believe, yeah, it looks like, ooh, did he? I was going to say, it looks like Carter Rousseau has made the spot. But no, Keteman was leading there at the line before the yellow flag came out, just by a little bit. So the 52 car, heartbreaking timing there on this yellow. But there is the 19 car and the 12 car, who we saw earlier. The 12 car is Mr. Carter Talley. Whoa, that was a very... Whoa, the 19 car on his lid. That very bizarre reaction there when those two guys got into the fence. That's Roman Henry and Carter Talley. Yeah, that on board would be pretty hectic there from the 19 car. Depends if... we want to give people motion sickness. But yeah, so here is the 19 and the 76. I don't know what happened to the 12 car of Talley there in the top line, considerably off the pace on exit. Looks like he had something go wrong there. And the 19 car just, I don't know if he thought he was clear. Maybe his spotter got confused, but whatever it was, It ends up on his lid. The street stocks do have a tendency to do that. Maybe stickier sidewalls of their tires here in these street stock cars than the Xfinities.
Yeah, the 19 really looking like a dirt car right here. See, it really grabs, gets traction, grips, and then over it goes fairly softly. One of the softest flips that I've ever seen, though. So that's the good news at the least.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was one of the slower flips I've ever seen. Usually somebody's side of their tires get caught. You see about 8 barrel rolls, but that was funny. It was kind of like just there at the end, it decided to roll over like a turtle. I don't know what happened there, but well, there you go. There's something for the highlight packages for any street stock series, for any of you out there. If you want a nice little highlight. I mean, I don't want to open that can of worms. I don't fully know how copyright works, but there you go. Maybe that can be our next topic if we get another caution.
Yeah, I'm assuming that we're gonna have plenty here in the comments. I see you guys talking. There'll be another caution or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. We'll see. We'll see. Is this Price is Right rules you don't want to go over? You know, I don't even know what we're at this point, but again, it's good to be able to talk to these drivers. We're having a good time. And real quick, we talked about the points a little bit earlier. We've got Nick Nickerson, Cody Welch, Ricky Hart Jr., and Benjamin Lacey at the top 4 in points. Now, of course, I guess it doesn't make too much sense to talk about points considering this is a non-points paying race, but 4 races left, and we've talked about that a lot. Who do you think is going to come out with the championship in 4 weeks from now?
You know, it's tough. Actually, it's tougher than ever this season to really make a decision on that. I mean, if you had asked me maybe 8 rounds ago, Nick Nickerson was the obvious answer. I mean, he had just been putting together an incredible season. There was always the potential for Ricky Hart to make a comeback. We know he won in the series last season. He's in the Final Four this year. We know he probably has more championship pedigree, more of an ability to thrive under pressure, as we've seen in the past, than any other driver in the championship four. But Nick is the guy with the wins. He's the guy that's been able to put it over the top really in every race. He doesn't just get good finishes. He either puts it second or he puts it on pole, and that's why we talk to him so often in the booth. So he's got that going for him. Cody Welch might have the hot hand of anybody. He's been incredible the last few weeks. Feels like every race he's just top 5, top 5, top 5. So that's his claim to fame. He's the hottest of anybody right now. Ricky Hart, of course, the championship pedigree. And, well, as we saw last year with Chase Elliott winning the real-life NASCAR championship, sometimes the underdog can take it away. Benjamin Lacey's very talented, and he might be that underdog in the championship Final Four. But green flag back at tonight's All-Star race, the 11th restart of the day. Mark Keeteman, again, a invitee to tonight's event. Same with Carter Rousseau are your top 2. But Jackson and Yancey side by side, and this is a battle we're waiting to see. Curtis Yancey, again, making his return tonight. Well, just for tonight's event, not the rest of the season. But Brandon Jackson out of the playoffs. Both guys that really just fighting for wins now at this point in the season. And this is the battle you want to watch.
Yeah, that 99 car up there on the outside, but he's not giving him any time. 99 of Brandon Jackson sideways. And they're cut to the camera at just the right time, apparently. He has a handful of that 99 car.
Oh, now he's got to worry about Brett Kuzik there to the inside. Big send. Whoa, the 04 car on the inside. Brandon Jackson immediately as we go to the camera. Poor guy there. Bad luck. Caution number 12. Yeah, he right as that battle kind of got out of hand there. Carried a little bit too much speed there on exit. And just like that, once you start going backwards in this series, I find it often results in an unfortunate ending there. And in this case, him and Guzik got together, and that is caution number 12.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and preemptively apologize, Brandon. I'm sorry. He told me specifically before the race that I wasn't allowed to talk about him. I wasn't allowed to point the camera at him, considering what happened last week with the commentators jinx. And you know what? I think I did it again. I was talking about Brandon, had the camera pointed on him. You just make too many good facial expressions, Brandon. It's hard for me to not point the camera at you when you're making such good facial expressions throughout the race. Everybody else is just so deadpan. And you're just out here having a good time. So I got to talk about Brandon. But you know what? I might have caused that one 2 weeks in a row. That I guess I sent the 99 car around. But
I'm just saying, Brandon, you point the camera at some random thing, and then you put up a virtual background of you sitting in front of your flag. Like, there's ways to do it that it can trick us. It looks like you're just deadpan staring down the camera. Then we won't show you, man. But yeah, like Evan says, you're too entertaining. It's these guys that are exciting on Skype that, I mean, I know if I were in this series and I had a camera up on the side of the broadcast and I saw my face pop up, I'd get nervous. But yeah, maybe it's just something like that. But we seem to be the worst jinxing commentators I've ever seen.
We really do, and it's very strange. It's very strange how that works, but you know, it happens. Are the lights out on the pace car, Marshall? I can't tell.
No, I don't think they would be quite yet. We're
Just
seeing
making sure.
based on the stopping order there, Brandon Jackson's actually showing up as on the top of the leaderboard, but that'll be fixed. No, the lights in the pace car are still on.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull somebody down. Jason, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you. How's it going, Evan?
Pretty good. How's it going for you guys down there on track?
It is interesting. So I think there's just been a lot of sliding and bumping as we've been going. So a little bit of a mess. A lot of fun, though. The Discord has been on fire, as one would expect. So it's always fun. Always a good time.
I can imagine. Well, I've got two very specific questions for you. One, I just saw you take a sip of something. I'm just curious, what is it you got over there?
That would be bourbon. So the good thing about these, laps that don't count under caution is you can tow, go downstairs and make a glass of bourbon, get back up here, and not go down a lap. So I'm still on the lead lap, and I've got my beverage over there. So it's working out.
That sounds like a great time. Sounds like a lot of fun. Lot of fun for these points-paying races, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, a little looser for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, my second question for you. You're always
Alrighty.
the best-dressed person on Skype. I'm just wondering, what makes you come out here? You've always got the collared shirt on. I love it. What makes you come out here dressed up so fancy?
So to be honest, we got sent home working from home. I work at Ford in Dearborn, so we got sent home to work from home with the COVID thing in March of last year. And to feel like I was still going to work, I would just, wear a collared shirt every day like I would when I go into the office. And then I'm just too lazy to change after work, or usually I run out of time and still have it on when I get into the race.
Well, hey, you know what? It looks good. It makes you look like the most professional guy out here on track. So even if you're not up front, even if you're back in, I don't know where you're at, 21st maybe. My timing may be completely
I'm way back
wrong.
here missing fourth gear. That's what I'm doing.
Are we back green? Sorry about that. I'll go ahead and put you back
no
up
worries,
there.
man.
Oh
Alright, that
man,
was
well
Jason
hey,
Greenwell.
Whoa, we got a wreck between the leaders. Again, just to cap it off here, back up to the front, Curtis Rousseau and Mark. Oh man, already forgot it. Mark Keedeman. It's man, they were making plenty of good action there up front. They were single-handedly, carrying the entertainment in that front battle, but unfortunately, they are into each other. Let's get a replay there, but a very violent wreck there right as we went back live. And yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to Jason Greenwell. Just a quick note, Jason, if you're watching back, you got to make that a trademark, man. You got to do that every race going forward. Make it your thing. But here is the pass, well, at least the past attempt by the 52 car, similar to earlier, like Brett Guzik and Brandon Jackson. Just you carry a lot of speed in there, and another rollover there for the 54, at least a partial one. Yeah, just carried a lot of speed in. Mark Keedeman did exactly what he was supposed to. He had the line there. The 52 car, I mean, honestly, was close enough that if he was just a tad bit slower, I think nothing would have happened. They would have been perfectly fine, but just a little bit too much speed. And both guys, they're trying to win from a non-full-time driver spot, and they are in the wall here. And that makes, well, in a very interesting storyline, your top two now become Brandon Jackson and Curtis Yancey.
Yeah, just two guys really racing hard right there, racing for the win, and that's what happens when you're racing for the win. But those guys don't appear to be too damaged, and they have fast repairs on top of that, so they'll be back into it here soon. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting restart with Brandon and Curtis up front. But yeah, if we look at our Skype cameras again, it's nice to talk to everybody. Nice to talk to Jason. He's a guy that I believe we talked to him a couple times, but we don't talk to him too much. And I've always wondered why he has the collared shirt on. I mean, it looks great, I've always been curious. So yeah, good to know that. Good to kind of talk to these guys just a little bit more as we pace around here under caution. Yeah, I should mention, Marshall always has nice shirts on as well.
I was gonna say, man, it's good to meet another, fellow colored shirt wearer. I don't know, I just always thought it was something a little classy. It's the only part of me you can see, so might as well flaunt the neckline there.
Yeah, I think I wore a collared button-up shirt for one broadcast, I believe, and then I decided that was too much work to change every single time. So I usually just have the t-shirt on, but.
Well, you've also got the hat. I was going to mention, I actually had somebody today suggest that I should start wearing hats more. So here, maybe just for a sec, I'll go grab one and we'll make that a thing too, just to finish up tonight.
Sounds great. I do. I always have the hats on. I'm a big hat guy, whether it be, I believe, I don't even know, what hat do I have on right now? I've got the American flag inside the state of Alabama hat on, but I'm a big hat guy, you know? And even, I guess this is one thing, we don't have anything to talk about here, so while we're here talking about nothing, I hung up, I don't even have one of them up, but I specifically hung up my helmet right here because I thought it would look good in the background of these broadcasts, and then I did that, but here's my big head blocking the whole thing. I'm gonna have to start talking like this. Here, Marshall's back now, got the hat on.
Man, speaking of big heads, I have one of the largest heads you'll ever find, so trying to get headphones over a hat is more of a challenge than I give it credit. Wow. I gotta give you props, Evan. This is not easy.
I don't know. Mine are fairly big. They stretch out a lot, so I'm also used to wearing the hat, so.
There we go. This is nice. I like it. I already feel more casual than the collared shirt usually gives off.
Yeah, you know, it's a business casual kind of race. It's the all-star race. We're out here having fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've said we're having fun. I'm just trying to convince everybody that even though there's plenty of cautions, we're having a good time, right? Right.
We are. We are live. We are back to green. Man, my timeline is just all over the place. We are back green there if we go live. So
Sorry
Curtis Yancey, as I was just mentioning, he was going to lead, but Brandon Jackson did get reset there in the field, so he was on the back end of the lead lap rather than the front. But Curtis Yancey, Hunter Henry, Brett Guzik, your top three. Out of nowhere, some new faces, and Trey Ellis and the very hard-charging Nick Nickerson round off your top five. Keep an eye on the 2-car with only 7 laps to go.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I wasn't back live there, so I'm really sorry about that, guys. But here we have Nick Nickerson running a little bit higher side than Trey Ellis, who's right there in front of him. But look how aggressive that 25 car is being. Steve Ulrich. As I believe the caution is going to be out yet again.
Well, I believe that is 5. So currently, somebody is winning in the chat based on previous estimates. But let's get a replay on what exactly happened there fairly early into the run. You were just talking about Steve Ulrich, so you probably know better than I.
Yeah, let's see. Benny Hogan and Carter Talley involved. So there's the 88 car of Benny Hogan that we're looking at right now. Brandon Jackson is right behind them.
Whoa, that was a hard lick there from the 12 of Talley. But yeah, it looked like he just from the top line turned down a little bit too soon. Wasn't quite on the entry to the apex there. The 88 car was a little bit earlier there. He might have been okay, but yeah, just a little bit early. I don't know if he was trying to shunt him. I don't think so. Carter Talley's new to the series. Benny Hogan's a long time veteran of the series. I'm going to assume that's not it. So yeah, just turned down a little bit soon. But that was a violent wreck. These street stocks, the damage model can create some pretty aggressive licks there. That one looked painful.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. We have this new damage model here, which is it's always nice. It's always really cool to see that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this from Brandon Jackson's perspective. Didn't go back far enough. 1 second. Here we go. So yeah, this is from Brandon Jackson's perspective. Looking off the nose of Jackson. And there you see those two guys. And another flip from the street stocks here today.
So looking live, there's a car flipped on the infield. Just sitting there. It's a darker entry. I'm trying to get an identity on that. Oh, somebody's trying to push. That's the 11. Oh, Bill Harkins has been upside down for the better part of 3 or 4 laps there on the infield. Now getting a shove from Mark Allen Bivens to send him over. So all sorts of fun we're having tonight at the All-Star Race. Now it's just gotten casual, but here you go. Let's. This is the exit of turn number 2. There. So you see there the 76 car flipping him back over the right way up. But I'm kind of curious as to how he got there, because he was not involved in the 12th wreck of the night. It was a very separate thing, I would assume.
Yeah, I wonder how long we're gonna have to rewind to get back to that. We're about to find out, though. You see those wheels still turning. Bill trying to get it turned over.
We are still going.
I can't rewind any faster than that.
Oh my goodness. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this was a separate car wreck. That's the 00 car. I didn't even know we had a 00 car. But it's Terry Condis there, who we were just talking about before with the two. Whoa! The front bumper kind of caves in, gets under the wheel, and sends him over. I've never seen that on iRacing, where a piece of the bodywork has influenced the car that much.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, you'll see it again there.
That's something with that new damage model. There you see Bill just gets turned. And then about here's where that front bumper falls off.
I bet he was surprised.
And over he goes. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't know what caused that.
No, I'd imagine he didn't. We're going back green. I should mention again. Very quick cautions. We're just flying through now. So Kurt, whoa! Haven't even got to the line yet. Brett Guzik's out and spun by somebody behind. And caution number 15. Out of nowhere. Who was that in behind? Somebody was just roaring. I think Trey Ellis there got into the back bumper of the 04 car right off the start. Caution replay into caution replay.
You know what? We came back right at the perfect time. I don't even know if we need a replay, but we're going to go ahead and have one anyway. So looking at the 04 of Brett Guzik. There's the 7 car of Trey Ellis behind him. Normally the driver, the number 4. And gets into him and sends Brett Guzik around to bring out another caution. So yeah, that is our 6th. So yeah, it's nobody guessed too many.
If I'm honest, I think everybody's gonna be a little low. I with 7 laps to go, I'm hopeful, but I think if there was any time pre-race I would have guessed we'd get a wreck, it would be battling for the lead at a short track with only 7 laps to go. So I'm going to predict one more, maybe, but I am excited for this finale because Curtis Yancey, Hunter Henry, Brett Guzik, Trey, well, I guess not Brett Guzik any longer, but Trey Ellis, Nick Nickerson, Peter Murphy. That's a fun top 5.
Yeah, this ought to be a really good time. This ought to be a fun end of the race for sure. With Curtis Yancey up front. And Hunter Henry, good to see him up front. Hopefully he can get in the Discord before the end of the race so that we can talk to him. I see that he's in there now. So I don't want to pull him right now. I'll pull him our next caution. I'm just assuming that there will be a next caution, but when there is, I'll go ahead and pull Hunter Henry. We'll talk to him.
Man, I just worry at this point that pulling him in is going to jinx him. I feel like he's got a rhythm there. Maybe the Discord is what's going to throw him off.
Maybe so. Maybe we don't need to pull him in. I don't know.
It'll be awkward if we pull him in seconds before the end of the race, then immediately have to interview him again on the podium. Poor guy. But yeah, he's a fan favorite. Like I'm just to talk in the bigger picture while we have a moment before we go green. Hunter Henry's a guy we see a lot. I feel like he's often very involved in the race as a whole, and I feel like unfortunately he's had some races here lately in the series that maybe haven't quite gone his way. He's definitely, I think he's had a lot of those wrecks kind of midfield where he seems to get tangled in stuff rather than being directly a cause. And I think that should give him credit because it's very easy in a series like this with so many cars to constantly be kind of the guy involved in stuff or the guy that causes so many things. You can be the catalyst to incidents rather than an innocent bystander. But he so often plays that kind of innocent bystander role in so many wrecks. So I think he's a very clean driver on his own. And I think if he could just put, those laps together where he didn't have those situations, it's kind of like guys like Brett Guzik for a lot of this season, where they just kind of find themselves and stuff. And if they didn't, I think he'd really be up there in the standings. But while we're here talking about him, I'll try to pull up his season results so far. Maybe we can get an insight into his last couple races.
Yeah, I guess in the comments, 2 more cautions. I feel like that's about right. Hopefully it's only 2. Hopefully it's only 2. And please don't jinx him. So, you know what? We'll wait to the end to pull him in, even if he doesn't finish in the top 3. We'll wait to the end and then we'll pull Hunter in. Hopefully he'll be our last interview of the night, finishing up front anyway. But we've got
just check the
Curtis.
stats.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got 3 top 10s in the season, 2 7s, including 1 2 weeks ago at Rockingham. So he's had those top spots, but tonight would be a peak if he could put it on the podium. But green flag for the 13th time tonight. Curtis Yancey takes us to green with only 7 laps to go, not a ton of time. But now's the question, will the caution come out? But for now, Hunter Henry not too far back. Huge set from Nick Nickerson. Holy cow, late braking. What a move there on Trey Ellis. He just, from a mile back, sent it in there. And Trey gave him enough room, maybe just out of fear of getting bumped there by the 2 car. But man, Curtis Yancey, you better run away, man, because the 2 car and Nick Nickerson is flying. And there is caution number 15, if I had to guess. And I believe that will officially make all predictions null and void. So, well, that'll mean 6 to go on the next restart. But Nick Nickerson made that limited time count.
Hey, we're slowly ticking away at our time, but here in the comments, 76 has had a crazy race, maybe an interview. So the 76 is Mark Allen Bivens. Let's see if we can go ahead and pull him down. We won't bother Hunter Henry right now. We don't want to jinx him. '76 is Evan Wall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
All right, so I heard that you have had a crazy race so far. So walk us through it. Tell us what's happened.
Well, had a pretty good start. I mean, I was going through, I was making some pretty good moves, and then about halfway through, internet cut off, and now we're trapped 5 laps down. So, yeah, pretty crazy to say the least.
Yeah, definitely an interesting start to the race. At least it's not a points paying race, just out here having fun. You got a plan to get back? Well, two-part question. 1, do you have a plan to get back? And 2, what does it look like from down there on the racetrack? I know it's been pretty crazy, and guys have had their handful, is what it seems like from up here. So what's it look like from down there in the car?
Well, from down here, it looks like a bunch of debris flying and a bunch of smoke. And my plan is just to race it as hard as I can, and hopefully we can have enough cautions for me to get back up there.
Well, hey, that sounds good. Sounds like a good plan. Good luck to you. Hopefully we won't have enough cautions, but something in me is telling me that we will.
Oh, yep, something.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Mark Allen Bivens. We're getting ready.
Just a quick...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, just a quick question as a Canadian, because I saw his hometown there. I believe it was Blytheville, AR. What state is AR? Is that Arkansas?
That is Arkansas.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to say it's either Arkansas or Arizona, but that felt like AZ to me. So there you go. There's my Marshall Doesn't Know America trivia question of the week.
Yeah,
we can make that a recurring segment.
Arizona would be AZ. Arkansas is AR. So, here, you know what? While we're at it, just a little bit of United States trivia. What is AL?
Albany's not a state.
It's not.
But I'm glad I know that. It would be Alberta up here in Canada, but it's not. Oh man, that's gonna be one of those tough ones. Alaska, probably.
It is not. It is not Alaska.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Sorry, AL.
AL. the home of
Oh, Alabama.
Talladega. It is
Alabama. There we go. What am I thinking?
Alaska would be AK. That was going to be my next question.
Perfect.
What
yeah,
is Alaska? But you already got
that shouldn't be AK. I don't know. Maybe we can do some Canada trivia on the next caution. But for now, we're going green. Here goes Curtis Yancey. Again, Hunter Henry, the best restart he's had all race, actually. I really like that jump for him. And Trey Ellis there in behind is considered ahead of Nick Nickerson on this restart. Must have just been a timing line thing. That last time, Nick again trying to get that send there for third, and he does again. Trey Ellis just, he's maybe going for that top line, trying to focus on the run on the next straightaway, but in turn, he's leaving the door open. He's doing it again. Peter Murphy there in the 38 car. Welcome to the inside. He is going for the move. There is no caution up right now, just to clarify. There we go. So we are still green. Curtis Yancey, I believe, has dropped out because Curtis Yancey is now not showing up on my telemetry. Oh, no, he's still on track. There we go. Now he's back. We're all good. There is the caution. Okay, everything was confusing. 17th caution, the one certainty. And Curtis Yancey is back. So our top three is back in order. And Nick Nickerson now back up in the top three.
Yeah, I believe Curtis Yancey was having a little bit of internet trouble right there, but still up front. It's going to be Yancey, Henry, Nickerson, and then Peter Murphy as we have our 17th caution of the night. And Marshall, a question from the comments. What abbreviation is MN?
Ooh. Oh, man. Minnesota.
It is Minnesota. What about MS?
Nice. Oh, I've never thought of MS as anything other than what people mostly think of it as. What state would be MS? Ooh. This is fun. Man. Can I have an approximate, like, north, south, east, or west?
It is in the south, the southeast.
Oh, southeast. It's not Louisiana. It's not Florida.
It's not Louisiana.
So
it's very close.
Oh. You stumped me with that one. I don't know MS.
It's going to be Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. Because we have Mississauga here locally in Canada, and I couldn't get that out of my head. But that, I never think of Mississippi as a state, to be honest. But see, it's you guys. You're lucky up there or down there in America, because I mean, obviously, like more people, like probably 10 times the population of Canada. But like up here in Canada, we have 10 provinces, 3 territories. We just think of it as 13 provinces, but there's only people in like 5 of them. So it's not really tough to remember. But yeah, you guys just. The country is so big, and that's kind of how I know, is because I have kind of a country that represents each area. Like the south is Texas, the north is, well, either New York or Minnesota, the east is either New York or Florida, and the west is California. And it makes it easy, but man, that's a fun one. Sorry to any of you out there in Mississippi, not to discredit it. As a Canadian, it's just, you hear about some more than others.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave me some Canadian trivia, I would absolutely have no idea whatsoever. I know nothing about Canada other than it's cold and it has Canadian Tire. That's about all I got.
That is true. It's actually very warm here right now. I don't know if you guys are having a heat wave down there, but and down there in Alabama, you guys are well south of us. But it's been very warm up here in Canada, so not quite always cold. We do have very warm summers. But I mean, do you know any? We got 3 territories, as I just mentioned. Do you know any of the 3 territories? So that's our more northern, I guess, what you guys would consider states.
You know, to tell you the truth, is Alberta one?
Alberta, it's a province. It is kind of to the west. It's right next to BC. Like BC, you know, it's right across the pond from Seattle. Like if you just go up from Seattle, it's over there to the west, and then Alberta's right to its right. But it'd be the 3 above Alberta. But I do like how you know Alberta.
I've heard of Ontario. I don't know if that's
yeah,
a city or. So
that's where I'm from. That's my province. I currently live in Guelph, Ontario. So Ontario is the greater province. It's where Toronto is. If you know a lot of people from
Toronto.
Yeah, there you go. We have the basketball team that was good for a year and is now terrible again. Yeah, no. Toronto has got. I think it's one of the very few cities with over 1 million people here in Canada. We don't have that many, but that's in Ontario. So chances are, if you know any famous Toronto celebrities, they're probably from Ontario, maybe British Columbia, maybe Alberta. Those are kind of our 3 big ones: our New York, California, and Florida of Canada. So There you go. It's fun to inform. You know, we can have an educational period there. If anybody, we're probably gonna have another yellow right before we go green. If you guys got any other abbreviations for states you want me to try here in the next caution, feel free to send them out there. But whoa, Hunter Henry getting to the back bumper of Curtis Yancey, and we're not even green yet, but now we are. Curtis Yancey, as a result of that chaos, already about 3 car lengths ahead of Hunter Henry, and here comes Nick Nickerson down to the inside into turn number 1. Hunter defends quite well there, just puts the car where he needs to, doesn't worry too much about it. But Peter Murphy right behind Nick Nickerson coming up to 3. His battle is not over.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson looking to the inside of Hunter Henry, and there he goes. He's going to be able to get the position. Nick Nickerson moving into second. Now he's going to try and track down the 21 car of Curtis Yancey. Peter Murphy able to make the move as well, the 38, getting by the 9, or really the 6 on the timing tower, getting by the 9. But Curtis Yancey has a pretty good lead there out front. Nick Nickerson going to be in second. Side by side
only
battle
2
a little
laps
bit
to
further
go.
back. Yeah, 2
Yeah,
laps
we're running
to go.
out of time here. Yeah, that's Ulrich there. That is Steve Ulrich there battling with, that's Matt Crockett there to the outside in the 29 car. But yeah, up front, not much time left. Curtis Yancey again making his return to the series tonight. Not a full-time driver, but what a better winner of our All-Star Invitational than a former driver invited back as we come to the white flag here. 6/10 Nickerson needs to make up here. If anybody can do it, it's him, but he is running out of time. Keep an eye there back on the battle between Peter Murphy and Hunter Henry as well. The final podium spot, Hunter Henry is very close. Coming up towards turn number 3. Curtis Yancey still well ahead. Has done everything he's needed to, but Hunter Henry, will he put the back bumper to him to get third? Just misses out on the move for third. Final corner, Curtis Yancey, welcome back to the series. Makes his return to the All-Star Invitational. He'll take the win. Nick Nickerson puts the 2 car in the 2 spot. Comes very close, and Hunter Henry just misses out on a great finish here. Well, he still had a great finish. 4th place. Congrats to Hunter Henry. But Peter Murphy, running the 6 car instead of his usual 38, comes in clutch here in the final, and he'll put himself in the podium at the All-Star Invitational here in the Bandit Racing League.
Yeah, and these guys at this point turning into a demolition derby. And a good job from Matt Crockett as well. Want to go ahead and mention good finish from Matt. Not sure where he ended up exactly, but he was up there up front, and he's a driver that he's a really good driver. He just hasn't had the consistency that I know he would have liked. Always has good paint schemes as well on all of his cars. And look at that. I believe it's a Mario themed street stock right there. But Curtis Yancey coming away with the win. Little bit of a trouble there, trying to celebrate, but let's go ahead and pull up our final race results of the night. Curtis Yancey, of course, your winner of the Bandit Racing League All-Star Invitational presented by Geezer Authentics. Then we have Nick Nickerson, Peter Murphy, Hunter Henry, and Trey Ellis rounding out your top 5. In 6th, Eddie Hagge, followed by Matt Crockett, Connor Sawyer, Spencer Breslin, David Leakey to round out your top 10.
After that, we got Richard Gross there, who stopped by tonight, one of our invitees, coming home in 11th. Brett Guzik started 3rd, finished 12th, but he was up there up front most of the race. Could have definitely factored in there at the end. Steve Ulrich there will finish in 13th. Kevin Foster as well spent a lot of tonight's event up front. Qualified 2nd, comes home 14th. Gary Wright will finish in 15th. Curtis Michaelis will come home in 16th. We talked to Jason Greenwell and all about his colored shirts and his ability to get a drink mid-race. He came home 17th. Brandon Jackson, who we talked to as well, Action Jackson. Unfortunately, a little bit of confusion for some reason with him on his laps. He was put at the back of a lap instead of the front. iRacing's been a little confused tonight, so he was your final lead lap driver, unfortunately, in 18th. Christopher Matthews as well, another one of our invited drivers. He'll finish in 19th. And Terry Condis, who we talked to a little ways earlier, he finishes in 20th.
Starting off your 20s and 2 laps down is the 18 car of Joey Zaremba, followed by Benny Hogan 4 laps down. Then Tim Thompson 5 laps down, along with Cody Welch, Mark Allen Bivens. Ricciard Jr. was 7 laps down in 26th position. Then Charles Oberg, also 7 laps down in 27th. Behind him was Bill Harkins. Then Mark Keeteman and Carter Rousseau in 30th position, both 11 laps down.
Running off tonight's grid, then we got the 23 car of Victor Weaver coming home in 31st. Alex Bowser with a pretty sweet name and a first-time driver in the series. He'll come home in 32nd, though he was up front quite a bit tonight. Carter Talley after that will come home 33rd. Mitchell Sullivan comes home 34th. Roman Henry there, family member of Hunter Henry. He had some support tonight in the chat. Unfortunately, 35th, but hopefully he had a good time in tonight's event. Anthony Caetano comes home in 36th. Alan Castle in 37th. Thomas Funzor only ran 4 laps before he left on lap number 4 to finish 38th. And at the bottom of the timing tower, there is me, but of course, not a driver in this series. And that is tonight's final grid at the All-Star Invitational at USA International Speedway.
You know, I was thinking about it next year if they do the All-Star Invitational again. I think I might jump in the booth and commentate, but I think I'm going to race as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And if it goes like this, there's still plenty of time to commentate. I just commentate under caution, you know?
Yeah, I like it. I'm up for it, yeah.
Maybe we could both do it, honestly.
I've done it before. I did an all-star race in a previous season of a series I was hosting. So I was producing, broadcasting, commentating, and driving. And I came home, I think, 4th. So it is definitely possible. Something we'll think about for next year.
That sounds good. I see Bill's jumped down in our booth. You got anything to say, Bill?
Don't be looking for the 3rd annual All-Star race in the street stocks. That's for darn sure. What a event. Meaning between all the mess up earlier, you know, with the sessions and then getting everybody in there, and then iRacing just was going nuts. It wasn't letting people do their fast repairs. Brandon accidentally gave himself a wave around, which put him on the lead lap, or put him out 1 lap ahead, then had to give himself an EOL, come down pit road. So you guys are more than welcome to run the All-Star next year, but I can promise you it won't be street stocks and it won't be Lakeland.
Well, hey, we had a good time up here in the booth. You know, everybody that was watching at home, we all had a great time. We had a lot of fun up here. Got to talk to a lot of guys. We had a good time. So hopefully
Did anybody actually stay?
Yeah, there's plenty of people.
Yeah.
We really thought, oh my gosh, Caution Fest, 2021. So thank you guys. I hope it was entertaining for you. Towards the end there, I told them guys, it's spin to win,
Hey, we tried to be the best entertainers up here that we could.
Thank you guys. I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you to everybody watching. But before you go, we're going to go ahead and have a couple of interviews real quick. So finishing in 4th position was Hunter Henry.
I'm sorry. What was that?
What?
You said before I go. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, nothing. You're good.
Oh, okay. Goodbye. Sorry.
Bye, Bill. All right, I'm going to pull down Hunter Henry. Hunter, this is Evan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Go ahead.
Well, you're a fan favorite here on the broadcast, and I was going to pull you down under one of the cautions, but I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of races. I've jinxed Brandon a couple times. I've jinxed a couple other people. So down in the comments, they didn't want me to jinx you, so I didn't pull you down in the race. I was hoping that you would finish in one of those top 3 spots so that I could just pull you in for an interview, but you know what? You finished 4th. You got close enough, and since I was going to pull you down under caution, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you now after the race. So kind of just tell us how the race went, I guess. There was a lot going on. Tell us what it looked like from a driver's perspective down in the car.
Well, it was real crowded. Pretty small track, and when you start out in iRacing and rookies, you usually don't have 40 cars out there. It's usually about 10 to 15, so it was pretty crowded, but definitely didn't think we would have that many cautions out there, but it was pretty fun. I think I was involved in the first wreck. I had to pit and then started in the back, but somehow made my way up to the front. It was pretty nice being up there, but yeah, I know I got a lot of folks commenting, and I appreciate them. Roman Henry, he my cousin, I got him in this invitational, and I hope to see him in the league next year. You got Tim Henry, Shanti, my mom, appreciate her watching every week, and Will Ruark, I'm sure he was commenting a lot. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we appreciate all the support that you, your family, and friends bring in the comments. We always love to see it. So just a big thank you to all those guys that stayed and watched, just everyone in general that stayed and watched. But you had a really great finish tonight, and you've been having some good finishes recently, I believe. Is that something that you're looking over to really carry into next season? It's the trucks next season. Is that something that you're excited for? Do you like those trucks?
Yeah, out of the trucks, Xfinity and Cup cars, the trucks are probably my favorite. Coming into this league, I didn't race Xfinity cars much, so I think I have the most experience in trucks. So I'm looking forward to it next year. Probably make it deeper into the playoffs, hopefully.
Well, hey, that sounds good. I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been a long race already, but I'm sure we'll see you in these next 4 races, and hopefully we can see you make a deep playoff run next season.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing what y'all do.
Yes, sir. Thanks to all you drivers that really put on the show for us.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that was Hunter Henry. Big thank you to him, and again for all the people that always comment down below. And then finishing in 3rd position was Peter Murphy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to Marshall, who's with Peter.
Hey, Peter, it's Marshall up here in the booth. How's it going?
Not too bad.
Oh, well, first of all, congratulations, man. Coming away with the podium in tonight's All-Star event. There were some really big names up there, as well as some guys that were making their debuts tonight. You come home with 2 top 10s into tonight, and then tonight in the street stocks. It would have taken some adjustment, I'd imagine, here tonight. Not only the USA International track that is known for its bump and run capabilities to produce as a track, but also the street stocks, man. Just first of all, what was your knowledge of them coming in? Were you one of those drivers that was used to the street stocks and the rookie endeavors just getting onto iRacing? And what was it like tonight at a track like USA International where there's so much bumping around between cars?
Yeah, I started out in the street stocks, and then once I got out of rookie class, never really ran them after that. I've ran a couple C fixed races with them, but other than that, I don't have much experience in these cars. And then USA International, same thing. I don't really have much experience at this track either, so I was just kind of winging it tonight.
Well, I mean, you winged it to a great extent. Like, so often we see these guys that maybe don't feel confident heading in, having the execution there during the real race to really pull it off. And tonight, you had to make your way through there a couple times, and that proved harder than it may seem on first glance. I mean, with all the cautions tonight, caution laps not counting, it was so crucial to make those moves there in such small time windows. How did that factor into your plans there in the restarts, knowing that you'd probably have a caution there sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I was put in a pretty tight spot at the beginning. I got caught up in, I think, the 2nd or 3rd caution and went to the far back, barely made it to the pits. And then, I anticipated we had quite a few cautions, not maybe as many as we did. But I had a short run car. So after about 5 or so laps, the car would start getting really tight on me, and it just couldn't move forward after that. But coming through, thankfully there were a lot of restarts, and then there at the end, I was getting a little worried. I had about half a gallon of fuel coming to 6 to go, so I got a little nervous about running out like last week at Talladega.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I mean, last week you had a really exciting finish there, but unfortunately just came, again, gallons away from half a gallon away from maybe even winning that race at Talladega. So tonight to come back, get some redemption after last week, what does it feel? I know it's a non-points race, but do you still get that satisfaction here out of a great finish that puts you on the podium here at our All-Star race?
Absolutely. It was my first podium with Bandit Racing, so it's pretty fun. It's pretty nice. I didn't expect to get it in these cars. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience. I'm looking forward to next season. We got quite a bit of experience in the truck, so hoping that I get quite a few of these next year.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing what you do there. As you mentioned, next season will be in the truck series, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, you've really been coming into a different element there, bumping it up a tier in these last couple of races, and you've really been showing out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do here in the final round of the playoffs in these last 4 rounds of the this current season in the Xfinity cars. But before we head off to the next driver, as we always do in the interviews, this is your chance to give some shout outs, talk about some sponsors, or just anything you have in your mind.
First, my wife for letting me do this. She's a big part of me even being on this. And then my cousin, Chris Eastwood, he's the one obviously on my car that you see, and we sponsored a few races this year. And other than that, that's it.
Sounds good. Well, again, like congratulations, Peter. It was a great race overall tonight. Yeah. Also, just a side note, you have one of the best looking cars in the series, and I was glad to see you carried it over that Eastwood detailing scheme. You carried it over tonight to the street stocks. That thing is looking sharp, and you put a sharp looking car there in a sharp looking spot. So congrats tonight, Peter, on the third, and can't wait to see you next week at Kansas.
Thanks. We'll see you.
All right, well, that was Marshall with Peter Murphy. Now I'm down here with the driver of your second place finisher in the number 2 car, Nick Nickerson. Nick, you got a copy?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. So my first question, does it get old being interviewed this much? Pretty much every single race?
Kind of. It's hard to come up with new things to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with new questions too. But I've got one question for you. That paint scheme tonight. What made you run that paint scheme?
That was actually Kevin's idea, and then I went ahead and spent a couple days painting it, and then I had to make all the custom Gran Torino like front end decals. That was the first time I'm doing that. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, so that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, well, it looked great. I'm a big Starsky and Hutch fan.
Right.
My mom was always a big fan of that show, so I grew up watching her play DVDs of it. So great show, good to watch. Movie's good too, but yeah, I don't have that much for you. We talk to you so much, so I guess I'm just gonna ask you about next season. We got the trucks. How do you feel about racing the trucks compared to the Xfinity this season and then the Cup season before? How does it feel going to the trucks?
Ben, I've only put a couple races in this past season, and I don't really do much official races anymore. I guess my game time is pretty much focused on just a few league races I run, but I know that there's going to be more full throttle tracks, I'm sure, at least with fresh tires. There's probably going to be a bit more pack racing. This Xfinity car I think it's probably the best car because it's not heavy on downforce. It's not slow. It's just somewhere in the middle where you can really use the brakes to control the car. Kind of sets those with that particular corner entry skill apart from others. I'm definitely going to miss it, but I'm looking forward to the trucks just because, sometimes it's fun to drive a little bit slower car and you get more of that pack racing with everybody. It's gonna be chaos, and hopefully it's as controllable enough to where we go and get a bunch of yellows at certain tracks. So.
Wait, the trucks ought to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see you dominate on the road courses with the trucks as well.
Yeah, man, it's definitely looking forward to it. Although I'm looking forward to at least a week or two break. Every single Wednesday, putting on these races, it gets stressful. So definitely coming down to the the last few races, it gets kind of stressful having to deal with the chase and everything. I've lost points to Cody every single race, I think for the past 3 races. So hopefully I'm over that hump and I can start making some grounds again.
Maybe so. You've still got the lead. You're getting those top finishes, those poles. So
yeah, we'll see. It all comes down to the very last lap though, and those 5 incident-free points.
Yeah, it definitely does. Well, you know what time it is. This is your time to say whatever you want to say. Shout out who you want to shout out. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you.
Just got to thank Matt and Bill for everything they do for the league and everybody that participates. This league's just a ton of fun. And I got to thank you and Marshall for putting on the broadcast, man. I know sometimes it's painful, but you guys do a damn good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you to all of you drivers out there putting on the race, like I've said. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you next week, Nick.
All right, I hope so.
Good luck.
All right, man. Take care.
Just to give some context very quickly, the original sign, the "Hey Yoda," was in reference to somebody holding a Yoda plushie in our Skype call, and the second one was to miss you, Nick, because I think I interviewed him 6 weeks in a row or something crazy, and it's been 3 weeks now since a post race interview. He's got to get back in those 1 and 3 spots. It's very crucial to my kind of life calendar as a whole. So come on, Nick, back in the top 3.
I'm sure he'll be there before long. Probably the 1 spot before the 3 spot, but
you're probably right.
But now I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you, Marshall, who is with your race winner, Curtis Yancey.
Hey, Curtis Marshall in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, welcome back, Curtis. I mean, first of all, I mean, it was great to see you back tonight. I mean, making your return to the series and as a one-off here for the All-Star Invitational. And I mean, you got to win this year in the Xfinity car, so we knew you had skill with that. But when you saw it was turned over to the street stock car, you saw it was at a track as aggressive and full of bumps as USA International. Did you think you'd be here right now? And what did it take there to do a great performance in the street stock cars as opposed to the usual Xfinity cars?
Well, honestly, I didn't even see myself in the race in the first place. After the whole debacle after the Roval and Charlotte Oval, I was unfortunately served a rest of the season suspension. I was not allowed to put a car in any points paint event. Bill was thankfully allowed me to run this race. So I do appreciate him for that. But I didn't even see myself in this race since about yesterday when I was told we have to go out to the track and test the cart in real life today. So I had Connor register me for the race, and I got back barely in enough time to get into the heat for the first race. So I don't think if it would have worked in the last session, I don't even think I would have been in the race tonight. But I definitely did not see myself here in victory lane, especially when Nick took tires and we saw him within the top 10 with 10 laps to go. Connor said that he was getting aggressive, moving people out the way, but that's honestly how you got to race this track. Just getting up on somebody, getting them out the way, and going if you're that much faster. Yeah, I was expecting him to honestly get the win when I saw him do that strategy call.
Yeah, I was going to mention it's not something we talked about much. We didn't really, Evan or I, between fuel and tires, we didn't know what the strategy was going to look like into tonight. But yeah, you talk about how you thought tires were going to be the be-all end-all. Were you having to change your driving style over the course of the race when you didn't take tires? And how crucial was tire wear here at a track here, especially in the street stocks that we don't usually run?
Fuel was definitely a major concern as whoever finished third, I can't remember their name over on the top
Peter
of my
Murphy.
head. Peter, yeah. He said he had like half a gallon with 6 laps to go. I had a gallon with or a gallon and a half with 10 to go, and I was virtually crapping myself thinking, oh, if we continue to run cautions, I'm gonna run out. Yeah, luckily I crossed the line with like 4/10 of a gallon left, and honestly I thought tires were gonna be major here. But we stayed out the whole race, somehow ended up with the win. But definitely a lot of fuel saving there in the last 10-15 laps.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would have only further made your finish there even more stressful. But overall, I mean, you kind of alluded to the fact that you had to put the bumper down here. It was what we were expecting coming into tonight. It's kind of that more home style track feeling that has that little bit of aggression that sometimes we don't always get in the Xfinity side of things. But tonight, how did that play in your race? You weren't up front all race, but you were pretty decently kind of battling through the pack. Did your kind of battle plan coming into tonight and over the course of the race, was it just I have to put the bumper to the car in front to get by, or did you kind of find alternate ways there throughout the course of the race to make up all the positions necessary to win tonight at the All-Star race?
I think I only put the bumper to one person. That was lap 3, and unfortunately it ended up in a massive wreck. It was the first caution. I believe it was the 22 and 44. I apologize to them. Going back in the replay, I thought when it happened, I thought it was he just sent it into the corner and wrecked the guy, but I kind of essentially just drove through him. But yeah, after that, I was trying to keep my nose clean, not get involved in anything. But I only had to lay the bumper to one person. That was lap 3, and that caused a massive wreck. So I just tried to keep my nose clean, avoid all the wrecks, and save fuel, and somehow we ended up with the win.
Well, I mean, one wreck out of 17 cautions, I think, is a drop in the bucket there. So I'm sure guys will forgive you for that. But overall, man, I just mean to come back tonight at the All-Star Invitational. I mean, what better way could you have pictured this going? I mean, first of all, congratulations as always. But here in the interview booth, the last time tonight, as has happened already once this season. But yeah, obviously, you get your opportunity to thank some people at home, talk about some sponsors, but also just really in general, what does it feel like to come back to the series and win the one-off here at the Invitational?
Honestly, I think it shows after the penalty what I'm capable of. I know it's a completely different car and a completely different track, I think it just shows, there was you said there's 17 cautions, and I only caused one of them. I'm sure there was other guys out there that caused 4 or 5 of them. I wasn't trying to race people dirty. If anything, me and Brandon were having a little bit of fun with like 10 or so laps to go, where every single time we got a run, we'd go over the radio, and he would be like no, and I would be like yes, and honestly, I think winning here is almost sealed the deal that I think I still deserve to be in the series, racing full time. But what happened happened. Unfortunately, I can't change anything about it now. Just got to come back stronger for season 9 in the trucks.
Yeah, I was just about to say you've more than proven that you've got the talent. I don't think anybody can question that. I mean, 8 top 5s and obviously a race winner at Las Vegas. You've had the season that nobody can question, and tonight you put the cherry on top of that whole thing. And I really do look forward to kind of when I take over things on this end for next season in the trucks. I look forward to talking to you all the time, and I guarantee I will be, because you got so much talent, Curtis, and it's been really fun to watch. And I hope that all of that gets figured out and you're back sooner rather than later. But yeah, as I was saying, if you want to give any shout outs or mention any sponsors, you got the time to end off tonight's broadcast.
Yeah, no sponsors really, just thanking Connor over here. Telling me information about the guys coming behind, how far they got up. I know he got a pretty good finish tonight. I think he got 8th or whatever. I think that's his best finish of the season, even though he came back about halfway through the season, I think. Unfortunately, he's not going to be racing a couple more races, but I think he'd have a definitely good shot at a top 20 if he started the entire season, maybe even a top 15 in a playoff run. But really, he's just the only person I can thank.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Well, thank you so much, Curtis, for taking some time with us, and again, congratulations. It was such a great performance, and here in the street stocks tonight, it certainly would have taken some patience, and it would have taken a lot of caution laps. I think more so than the green. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. But you fought through, you persevered, and you come home with the win. So congratulations, Curtis. I'm sure we'll see you sooner rather than later. And Bo, for the meantime, on behalf of both Evan and I, thank you as always. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, Curtis. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thanks, you too.
All right, well, that was Curtis Yancey, your winner tonight. And real quick before we go, Marshall, the abbreviation KS, what state is that?
Ooh, Kansas.
It is Kansas, and that's where we're going to be at next week, 1 week from tonight. We're going to be at Kansas Speedway for 125 laps. Then 1 week from then, Homestead, Miami, 100 laps. Road America, 40 laps. And championship night at Richmond, 200 laps. But that is going to do it for us here tonight. Thank you all for staying. It's been a lot of fun, but it's been a long night. Some good racing, a lot of cautions. But if you're still here and you're new to the league, it's not always like this. It's very rarely like this, just so you guys know. So we hope to see you next week for hopefully some good racing, 125 laps at Kansas. But that's going to do it for tonight. We'll see you then.